More from US Commerce Secretary Lutnick says the tariff relief is to be phased in over 3 years to allow automakers to produce supply chains in the US. Update from CNN, Elena Treen does note that Trump called Amazon founder Jeff Bezos Tuesday morning to complain about reports that his company was considering displaying the cost of US tariffs next to prices for certain products on its website, according to two senior White House officials telling CNN. And Lutnick notes that this is finish your cars in America and you win. And Lutnick does note that has discussed specific plans with automakers and is leaving it to them to announce.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Gonna get started here in just a momenta. How's everyone doing today? How are we doing today? What's up, 567? What's up, nobody? Non-you mental. Raul. Moeen, we'll take a look at AMD, Roger, Donald, Gravity, Daniel, Comrade. What's up, DD? What's up, Barkster? It's going good. Just figure, why not go live today? Take a look at the markets. We'll look at some individual stocks. See what's happening here. Markets are rather mute right now. So drop your tickers in the chat. We'll pull up some individual names and just chill. It's a chill day. It's a chill day. I've been day trading earlier. Couldn't really get anywhere, though. Couldn't really get anywhere. One second. All right, there we go.
Update for Universal Music Group in terms of their earnings. They report Q1 revenue of 2.9 billion euros.
It gives me an insane mind with your sane perspective. I'm good, Palm Tree. Hope you're doing well as well.
Streaming revenue for UMG.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
up
just trying to post this and let everyone else know that I'm
Physical
live
revenue
right now.
up 17.6%.
I'm like
and
drawing a
for
blank on how to do that.
adjusted
Okay, there we go.
EBITDA, that comes in at 661 million euros.
All right, there's that, and then let me post it out on X. Shakus. All right, we'll take a look at what's going on here in the market. So we'll take a look at some individual names. Did a long market brief last night. I didn't think it was going to be 40 freaking minutes. but we talked about a lot of individual names there. So we can revisit some of those names. I'm not like hot, like hot on the trigger right now, right? I'm not like, that was earlier last week and, or the week prior, whenever that was. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of like, like I'm happy that the portfolio bounced and I'm taking the opportunity to sell a bit into it. And now I'm looking for names that are still working out and setting up pretty good. If we take a look at what the market's doing today, a lot of chop, a lot of back and forth, right? NQ, it's above its opening range. Just if we're looking at 30 seconds here. So it's holding up, but the SPY is rather unchanged. The S&P 500 is up 29 basis points, and it's not really bearish looking, right? We pull back into this volume weighted average price, which was from this breakout point right here, and our first test of it that day came just
more from
yesterday.
US Commerce Secretary Lutnick does note that domestic manufacturers
and then you get your pretty much the first
15%
initial reaction
non-US
from the first
supply
test
chain.
of a big VWAP.
Expect that to go down to 10%
You typically get a
next
nice
year.
move from it. It's common, at least. It's more common on the first initial test. And then right now, what's price doing? I mean, it's just kind of coiling up here nicely. So if the market's going to get some positive news, I think it's really possible that we come back up to this upper weekly implied move. I don't know what earnings are going to bring, and we got a lot of earnings on deck. Let me pull up Earnings Whisper here. Where is that at? Yeah, right here. Okay, so we got, after today's close, we get Visa, Starbucks, Snapchat. I don't know, like, I'm thinking Meta, I'm thinking Snapchat. I'm trying to, like, get my head around this stuff, and I'm not like incredibly too bullish here for some of these names. Like Tesla was the only one that I really felt, I was like, I felt like I was like, yeah, I can lean confidence here that it's probably going to be more bullish, but it was like a complete narrative, right? And it wasn't to the point where I'd want to risk my own money, really, like not go heavy into something like that. But we got Visa, we got Starbucks, they're reporting after the bell, so we can look at what those expected moves are. Snapchat. I don't know. Does anybody use Snapchat still? I just, like, this thing gets beaten down on earnings a lot of the time. I'm not going to short it, but I feel I would be leaning more bearish on this one. But then again, it's sold off so much, perhaps the market wants just some relief. So it's just one of those things, like, it's just one of those things. If I look at the trade tab and we look at the expected move right now, $1.62 on this thing, this could be up 20% from one standard deviation or down 20%. How is Snap a company? You still use it, Jalen? You still use I imagine people still obviously use it, right?
Auto manufacturers will pick
dude, I actually should probably log into mine. I wonder if anybody sent me anything.
And they will only
hilarious.
pay one.
The filter game was
automakers will pay either steel or auto tariffs, whichever is higher.
The filter game was strong. What's up, generator? Only my kids use Snapchat. Yeah, younger crowd. I hear that. Okay, so yeah, let's go back over here. Let's look at some of the 0-date levels, 2 DTE levels. What's the areas of focus? Well, this morning we had a couple areas of focus that's changed since I brought it up earlier this morning. 5550, 5600, these were the upper levels here, the upper echelons. And then down beneath us is 5450, 5400. Those were the levels of focus from today's standpoint. Today, we did come into that 5550, which happened to be one of the larger levels. If we look at 0-date right now, 5570, 5600. So this is still telling us like, hey, we can press up, perhaps touch the all-time high VWAP, maybe even go to the gamma flip line. And, after that point, really, I mean, it's 5,600, and 5,600 has been a pretty key level from a net gamma standpoint. We'll see if that's changed at all. But yeah, you got 5,600 as the call wall here. So we're kind of floating between this 5,400, 5,600. These are the bigger, larger net gamma levels that you want to be mindful of. And, we'll see, like, if price can get up into 5,600, like, are they going to continue to reach out further? Like, for example, okay, well, 6,000 is the main call wall, but this would be the more local resistance. If we come up into these areas, are traders going to kind of change this structure here? Is it going to look like traders are reaching out further. In yesterday's video, we talked about how, these are typically little turning points in the markets. You get these, after a big rally up,
Like
right?
Nick
After
says
seeing some
that
pretty
it is
strong
not
moves,
a rebate,
big strong
it
moves,
is
and you
an
get these
offset that
indecision
comes
type
from
candles.
tariff already being paid.
And the current trend is obviously lower highs, lower lows as it stands. But in the near term, we do have this higher low. And this was happened to be our first follow through day. So, in theory, I'd be leaning, I'm obviously more bullish as long as we can hold this level here. But I'm not like ready to go long here or here. I would prefer to see maybe a shakeout kind of move.
Linux says it will not cost the
And
government
then the
any
20 day
money
to start
whatsoever.
kind of shaping back around. Right? And then see something like that. And that's still a possibility. But right now we've had kind of just a one shot move, and it was fast and aggressive. It was kind of locks people out. So if you miss it, if you get shaken out here, you probably don't want to. You go like, oh no, I'm not going to chase here. I think the low's not in, and then it goes up again, and you're like, oh my gosh, should I go now? Should I go now? And this is kind of like that area, as described yesterday on the Stock Market Brief. How this is typically where people like kind of get exhausted. They're like, oh, dude, I'm just gonna choose. I'm just gonna go long. I'm just gonna leave it here, and I'm just gonna take a break. Or they had to deal with all of this, and now they're exhausted because price finally came back to their level, and they're like, all right, I made some of it back, or I made break even. I'm gonna throw in the towel and just see what happens. And it's typically an area where people get fed up, and that's where we got to really kind of hone in and be prepared for these market moves. So yeah, we'll take a look at some individual names. Yeah, the current price action's slow and indecisive. This is very normal type stuff on a day like this. We'll look at market net flow here too in a moment. But remember, like the market's paused out because we got a lot of uncertainty right ahead. Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Apple, like this is the large earnings week. And we haven't got any of that data yet. And then you look at the economic calendar and it's like, okay, well, we got through our JOLTS, we got through our consumer confidence, which I don't know, what did this come in at? This came in at, it looked like crap, right? Yeah, actual was 86, CB consumer confidence. Consensus was 87, so below expectations. Then you got your JOLTS numbers, below consensus. Not the greatest, but then again, you get these cruddy numbers. Like, how do you interpret this? The market's up, sort of, right? It's like up to flat. And then you start thinking like, well, if it gets that bad, wouldn't that be technically maybe a good thing because then the Fed's forced to cut rates? Or they're going to be more leaning towards being more dovish. I don't know. But when I look at the market right now, right, it's, like I said, it's kind of stalling out here, paused, waiting for some data. And the guidance of these names that are going to be coming out, which I don't know if they're going to pull guidance. They might just come out and say something like, we don't know what to expect with tariffs or this or that and whatever the case is, so we're pulling guidance. Which would probably be not the worst idea, or they're going to come out and say, yeah, this is a lot of uncertainty and this could be bad. Who knows what they're going to say? And they could have great earnings, but then all of a sudden the market hates what they say as far as guidance, or they have horrible earnings or bad, under expected, and then they say, well, actually, it's going to be a lot better and guidance is good and the market loves it. Like,
will stack on top of the
talk about uncertainty.
MFN
Talk about
rate.
all over the place type of behavior. And when things are like at that level, I just stand back. I'm just not in a rush. And market conditions, they've been getting better. Above the 5-day moving average, we're near the gamma flip line, so we're more gamma neutral now. That's a positive sign. We still haven't seen really CTAs kick in as buyers. Maybe we're getting little pockets of it, but I would still say like through 5,600, we'll probably be able to see those systems turn on a bit. So if the market likes what earnings see and we get a pop higher, perhaps that does spark a larger kind of buying frenzy or whatever. And then people are like, ugh, puking out shorts, chasing long. Those are all possibilities here. We're near that all-time high volume weighted average price. As you can see, this is the all-time high VWAP right here, and we're kind of right next to that level. So, yeah, we're still, it's the market from the all-time highs. They're about even. So we've managed to come back to that really key level there. Market net flow for the day, it's been bearish overall, but a lot of chop. So we haven't had convergence, which means you have counter trend moves, and that's kind of what you're seeing is just chop.
And China
now, yesterday it was the same situation, so now we've had like back-to-back days.
According to a statement seen by Reuters,
we've had back-to-back days with kind of
seeing earnings here from Valeo for Q1 sales. They do report 5.31 billion.
Back-to-back days with just poor market net flow, which is also kind of interesting to me. I wonder if that's foreshadowing anything up ahead. Maybe.
And already secured. Update for Intel says multiple clients interested in its 14A technology, according to Bloomberg. And more on the Intel 18A, says it is now in risk production and expected to reach volume manufacturing this year.
We're getting some news around Intel, so I saw a little bit of a volume spike down here.
Of note for ASM International, seeing earnings across for Q1, net income 192 million euros, revenue 839 million.
Thanks, 69. Thanks, Zoe. I appreciate that. I'm just going to say Zoe, Z-O, because I don't want to mess up the entire, the name. So I figured Zoe I can get right. Watch that be the only one that I would get wrong. Next Fed QE would throw us into hyperinflationary Great Depression. I mean, that's been kind of said, that's been said about every single one. To be quite honest, that's the reality. I've heard people say that for every single one, and eventually, maybe that might be right. Who knows? Who knows? Let's take a look at some of the individual names. So some of the ones that I was pointing out yesterday, I guess we can just really peep those really quick, and then we'll look at the other names that people have been bringing up. So make sure you drop them in the chat. I'll try to make up a list here. You think the dollar is going to get a crash soon? I mean, the dollar has been crashing, right? The dollar's. We'll actually take a look. We'll take a look at some of the intermarket stuff. But yeah, the dollar. I mean, the dollar is tanked. So I would put this in the category of a crash for the dollar. I mean, that was a crash. That's a fast, aggressive move for the dollar. Doesn't mean it can't go lower, but I don't think anybody was expecting a dollar at 100. The dollar index, right? These are some large outsized moves. Saw that in same things like copper, right? Copper saw a massive move to the downside, and then since that sell-off, which was, by the way, this 3-day, 4-day rate of change that we've seen, this was one of the largest in history. I look back over 50 years, and it was only very rare that you could see a move this large and that fast as far as the rate of change in a few days, a percentage drop. And, it bounced back and recovered. Well, yeah, I mean, you sell off, you bounce back. 10-year yield. Oops, wait, I forgot they do that CGI thing. Wait, no, I forget what platform I'm on. 10-year yield's coming off. I think on yesterday's episode, we talked about how oil looks kind of like it can sell off, right? And then how the 10-year yield would follow that. So the 10-year yield is coming off today again after its initial rip up. Was this what was this? Like a Liberation Day-ish area right around here, something like that? Since Liberation, and we saw this boom, big pop there. Well, keep an eye on oil, right? Oil sold off massively too. Boom. And then what happens? Oh, we bounced back. Why did we bounce? Well, because we sold off. Like that. I'm not going to read too much into it. But if oil comes off here, right? I think we talked about SCO on last night's brief. I'm not really one to short that much, to be honest. It's not my kind of style, but this was SCO. This is this is an ultra short Bloomberg oil fund. That's up a little bit on oil's move down. And then XLE was one that I said maybe it could be faded. Let's see if it did anything. No, it's still, I mean, it's down a little bit today. But with oil down, energy stocks are still holding up, which is interesting to me because there's a tight correlation there. So it's probably a couple individual names within the energy sector here, or, you know, that are holding it together. I mean, XOM and CVX. So if I go into XOM, what's that look like today? Yeah, and then CVX. It doesn't look as good. They're reporting earnings here soon. Rate sensitive stuff. Let's take a look at utilities. Utilities is still holding up. We had some of those we kind of discussed on last night's brief. Let's look at consumer staples. You know, we got that up on the trading session today. How are we looking? We got materials is holding up after a pretty massive sell-off, so it's bouncing back into kind of an area of you know, prior support here. Prior support, so there's kind of zoning here, kind of I wouldn't want to go long there. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Healthcare has been somewhat holding up. Some healthcare individual names, I should say, but we're also kind of looks like the market. Real estate. I mean, this too, right? You get this huge move down, boom, and then you get this reflexive bounce back. These do look like bear market rallies. So you know, I'm just not excited about most of this stuff. Financials coming back into the year-to-date volume weighted average price. You know, just big rip back. Look at bonds. TLT is, you know, obviously up today when we just looked at yields. SPY holding up. It's 39 basis points now. Q's holding up. We're coming into around that year-to-date VWAP. Declining 50-day. It's just nothing to me just stands out as like, yeah, I'm super excited and pumped right now. IWM, nice big bounce with IWM. Still well off its highs. So it's constructive. What we're seeing is constructive, but now I want to see it actually tested. Now I want to see what the next sell-off looks like, or pullback, or whatever. Consumer discretionary, just another strong move. Tesla's been kind of doing pretty good here. Tesla came into its year-to-date VWAP, right? We saw a little bit of a bounce there, you know, woohoo. Amazon today, I think, was feeling a little bit of pressure, but that's since recovered. I think there was some news around Amazon. Let's take a look at some of these other Mag 7. Apple, which is basically the market. Also, same thing. We're kind of just dragging higher. With earnings right around that corner. Microsoft. And they're all the same. They all look the same. Nvidia is actually kind of consolidating here, but it's still like, you know, lower highs, lower lows. Google's actually holding up that 150 level, so that's positive. And we're kind of pulling back a little bit here with Google. So we've seen this move, this strong move. Now we're kind of consolidating and pulling it back. The 20-day is starting to turn around, but we're still below a declining year-to-date VWAP, 200-day, 50-day, which it's like, that's fine that we're below them. It's, you know, whatever. I don't really care. But the direction of them just tells me that the trend is kind of shifting. So it's going to take some time to repair this. So even if price comes up here, the 200-day might be like this, and then eventually, you know, start to do something. So it's just not a time to rush. Market net flow has been bearish, but it's also been kind of mute, right? You just have no convergence. You get a little bit of red, which means convergence. Right now we have a level at 552 on SPY. That's beneath us. So you don't want to get below 552. And the market's kind of pressing into new highs right now for the day and for the week. And like I said, you know, it doesn't look bearish. You know, we started that by looking at the SPY. It doesn't look bearish. If you take a look at the 0-date levels, right? The level that we kind of pointed out here on near-term option or gamma exposure, We have 55.50, which is where we're basically at right now. And we have 55.70, about 20 points higher. And that brings us to and around the gamma line. And the all-time high anchored volume weighted average price. We can take a quick look at ticks, see if anything's shaping up here. Sometimes if we get an extended tick reading, I'll take the faded, I'll take a trade that fades it. We haven't had an extended reading on tick, so all day today, it's been kind of just mute, right? We've been kind of just focused in the center zone here, but no like plus 1,000, minus 1,000, not even plus 900. Had 0 alerts from tick today. Okay, I want to take a quick look at some of the names that I brought up yesterday, and then once again, I'm going to start. Where's my notepad? My handy dandy notepad. All right, start dropping some tickers in the chat. I'm going to start writing them down. I got CELH, I got AMD. That's what I got so far. What else did anybody write here? Google, I did talk about Google. That's fine. You can always bring it back up later. Yeah, hit the like button. That's greatly appreciated for anybody that just hits the thumbs up. I don't know if it does anything and reaches more people, but it helps. I have been told. I've been told it helps. I've been told it helps. We got TTD, TLT we talked about, but we'll read it again. HIMS, yeah, HIMS had some news. ICAD, ASTS, Love, Groupon, Hood, LAES, some new names I'm not too familiar with. Boyle, Lockheed Martin, Merck, LPLA, iVol, nice. iVol is the curve steepener. Not really much of an analysis that I can do there, other than if you believe that the curve is going to steepen, that's the one to be at. GDX, which does seem pretty bullish to be in. WGMI. If futures data is 1 hour delayed, how do you day trade? What do you mean? I wouldn't day trade on an hour delayed data. I couldn't do it. Did something say on my screen that I was an hour delayed? A Dollar Tree, that was a PLTO. Dollar Tree, I was actually eyeballing the other day. Damn, I'm just like, why is it spelling all weird? TEM, that has earnings around the corner. Oh, thanks, man. Hit copy. Oh, share. That's pretty cool. Starbucks, that has earnings. We'll look at that. Noke. Geez, we got a lot. Okta, I haven't looked at for a minute here. Now, I'm leaning bullish on that one too. ACHR, CME, Tesla, Plug, I haven't heard about Plug for a minute. Costco, Target. Okay, that's a lot. That was a lot of names. AVGO. Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at some of these. I don't think any one of the ones that we talked about last night were mentioned. European. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Okay, dokie. Actually, I'm just going to do with what you guys want to do. I'm not going to go through mine. I'll go through mine later. I got TTWO and I got team as well. Okay. We're back at that 5550 on SPX, which is kind of that current call wall here. I feel like shutting this stream off right now and playing some Fortnite. That's what I feel like doing at this current moment. This market is just, this market is on something. LMT. Let me figure that one out. I changed that wrong. Okay, here we go. Let's do CELH. All right, so Celsius has been one of those very high beta, super volatile names, and now we finally got a little bit of movement in it, and it's kind of just doing its consolidation. This is a pretty fast moving stock, right? So if you're bullish on caffeine, which it's not necessarily a bad thing. There's some caffeine names that have been doing quite well. Celsius could definitely play within that, but we had a bullish earnings, right? If you were in it, okay, cool. But chances are if you were in it here, you were probably in it here and tried it here, and you probably tried it over here. So congratulations if you're more than break even. But we pulled back into the year to date and we saw some strength, and now it's kind of consolidating. And I just want people to know that, you know, the 200 day is still sloping down. It's going to take a while, right, for us to start removing some of this data for this to start flattening out. But the 50 day is starting to slope up. That's positive. Okay. It looks like it's going to probably cross through the 200, which whatever, that's the golden cross. What I would like to see is it to shake some people out and then for this to flatten out a bit, right? And do something like that where we can stabilize this base and maybe build it out a little bit longer and give a little bit more confidence that we can see this thing potentially turn up. Now, if we see a strong move straight up, this will start turning faster at a faster rate, but that's just not where we are right now. So if I do go to the weekly time frame, you sold off like crazy and we're seeing a bounce. And now it's getting tested a little bit. Right? So for me, it's like, do I feel that confident in the name to buy it right here? And if I buy it right here, where's my stop going to be? Right down here? Okay. I feel like there's a high probability of getting stopped out there, but hey, that might be the option right there. What I do like is how it played out with earnings, consolidated, moved up, and is holding up within this current market volatility. So this is a name that's actually outperforming the market, and that's positive to note. All right, so that's always important. And I'm taking a little bit more time on this one. I'm going to move faster through others because it's the first one. But it's important to note that you want names, right? When the market finally gets its official, like this is the bottom, and the market starts cranking higher, you want the names that have been showing relative performance, relative strength, because they can lead the next cycle, the next bull market. Which, are we there yet? I don't know if we're there yet, but that's what you got to be prepared for, is if we are. You're not going to know until hindsight. So you got to constantly take stabs and manage and so forth. Celsius. Got 2 duo wins last night on Fortnite. Hey. Stream Fortnite. Pepsi. Yeah, Pepsi is another one that's kind of had my eyeball because it's just sold off so hard. I guess Coca-Cola too. There's a couple beverages, right? Coca-Cola has earnings. Oh, did it report already? Coca-Cola looks bullish, right? Coca-Cola does look bullish. I was trading it down here and I sold into it, throughout here or something like that. Then it consolidated. Then it whipped everyone out. But Coca-Cola's been holding up pretty well. That's KO. CCEP, which is Euro Pacific Coca-Cola. Also kind of flagging here in bullish context. Yeah, Pepsi got hammered. Earnings is out of the way now, and this thing is just like, this thing got crushed. But yeah, you'll probably see a bounce here at some point, but it's not like the greatest looking chart. And then Monster, which is another one that's been just a monster performer. No, I didn't even mean to say that. That's no pun intended. But this one is also pulling in higher lows and price actions consolidating here. It's holding up year to date. So those are all some caffeine type beverages that have been doing good. AMD, the stock that everyone's trying to find the bottom. Like if you thought this was the bottom, you're wrong. If you thought this was the bottom, wrong. Is this one going to be it? Question mark. Well, just note that the trend is still lower, right? The trend, the 200-day sloping down, 50-day down, 20-day down. So if you go long right here, just know that you are swimming up a river. So even if you're like by ear and it goes up here, you're still swimming up a river. So you're going to have to, structure your trades and manage the risk a little bit differently. I think it's very possible that we could come up and doodle around, and then everything starts to flatten out. But I'm more interested in AMD when it starts to prove itself a little bit more. If I enter here, do I really want to hold through whatever it might look like to find a bottom, or would I prefer it just doing this? And then me playing right here with a stop here, and then bam, we fire off. I'm looking for small risk, but fast reward. Like, I don't want to be in the trade if I'm swing trading for too long and get my capital all tied up. Unless if it's like, I say, yeah, this is going to be more of an investment, right? I'm going to pull this in and it's going to be in my account for years. And then I don't really care because it's not that big of a position, and I'll put it in there and then I'll just scale in over time. So there's 3 buckets, right? You have your investment bucket, you have your swing trading, you have your day trading. You don't need to do one or the other, but you need to know what you're doing on the special trade, on each individual trade. So for me, I'm looking at these from a swing trader's mindset, not an investor mindset, and also not a day trading mindset. If I was looking at a day trading mindset, I'd be looking at the 15 minute time frame and down even to the daily, or the intraday, minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, whatever. So yeah, series of lower highs, lower lows. We're getting bounces. Is this the bottom? If you think it's the bottom, you go long, and then your stop is there. If you wanted to kind of map the S&P 500 where we had the follow through day, it'd probably be this low. You don't want this low taken out right here. But I would imagine we can get some tests here in the near future. TTD. Trade desk, right? Is that trade desk? Yeah, trade desk. Yeah, same situation, right? Sold off really hard. We have earnings around the corner. Like, this thing got cracked. So yeah, you're going to see bounces. You know, you're going to see bounces. But when it comes to these type of names, when it's been hit like this before, remember, stocks, losses work geometrically against you. You can always lose 50% and another 50% and another 50%. Okay? So we're seeing a bounce, cool, but is it really proved itself yet? So from a daily time frame, I'm not interested. I'm just not interested. From a 15-minute time frame, now all of a sudden, we have an inclining 5-day moving average. Yeah, it's a little frothy right here. But now if it starts to consolidate out, maybe I can form myself a smaller time trade. But more importantly, you'll ask yourself, where did price come from? It came from down here and it came up straight up here. So do I want to buy here for the possibility for it to pull down here and then potentially go higher? No, I'd rather just wait for price to do this if it's going to do it, and then turn back around and then be more confident later on. Like, I don't care if I miss the move, right? Once again, I do not care if I miss the move or bounce because I know that it's going to consolidate. Like, I'm 100% positive you're going to get a consolidation, right? This big move. Oh, am I missing it? Am I going to miss it? Should I go in? Boom, consolidated, pull back. Oh, it's coming. Oh, boom, pull back. Oh, I missed this gigantic day over here. Oh, it consolidated and pulled back. It's going to consolidate and pull back. I don't know when, but it will. That's what I know. Because one of the basic principles of technical analysis is all stocks move between periods of contraction and expansion. This is an expansion, then price pulled back, contracted, expanded, contracted. And it's currently expanding right now. And if I zoom in really close, you can see how tight these candles are getting and how volume's drying up. It's actually contracting these last 3 days. So we're probably going to see, either a big move higher or a potentially break lower where the range of these bodies are going to expand. Okay? How ignorant would it be to hold puts through Mag 7 earnings as a main position? I mean, you only know in hindsight, right? Right? If you were right on the position, if you held puts through whatever and you were right and you made a big gain, what you don't want to do is confuse, that for smarts, because it's a gamble. That's what that is. You're just making a gamble. You're making a bet. Now, if it's an educated risk, like you have some longs on and you're like, I'm going to hedge these positions a bit, buy some puts. But if you're going like 100% short your portfolio, you're 100% taking on a lot of risk. And one thing I always tell people is because people are like, the market's going to do this. I'm like, I don't care if the market does this or does that. And I don't care about what call you make. And more importantly, I don't care any call that I make. What I care about is if you make a call, let me know, which I don't know why people don't do this. If you make a call, where will you be wrong? People don't want to be wrong, so nobody says, like, I'm going to be wrong if this happens, right? Look at, like, some of these big, like, influencers. Like, for example, like, I'm actually kind of curious, like, maybe David Hunter is one that, you know, he's been, like, S&P 500, 7,000 for forever, or 6,000, then 7,000, and who knows when, melts up. But he's never actually stated that I've heard, like, saying, hey, I'm wrong if this happens. And I could be wrong because I didn't hear him say that, but a lot of people, even on shorter time frames, they're like, the S&P 500 is going to drop to 4,600. Okay, what if it doesn't? Where will you be wrong? Where will you say, yeah, I'm going to throw in the towel here? So making a call, like, it's like that Hollywood effect, right? Like, people want to be right, but you better understand where you're wrong. And that to me is incredibly critical, because that's all we can control is what we manage as far as risk goes. You know, what you buy, when you buy it, how much you buy, and when you sell it. Okay. Trade desk. Yeah, so trade desk, moving on. TLT, we kind of talked about. Let's take a look at the markets here. Kind of just doodling around again. Just nothing going on in market land. Okay. Yeah, TLT. It's bouncing. So if you think yields are going to come off and oil is going to continue to sink, that'd be something like. So yesterday's video, we talked about this. We said, if you're bearish oil, right? So I'm not much one to short. I'm not much a huge shorter, because I showed the chart of SCO and I was like, hey, if you think oil is going to fall here, which it looks like it could, you know, you can be short oil like SCO. Or if you're bearish oil, you can be bullish bonds, because they kind of work inverse too, right? So, and the reason why I say that is because if oil typically can lead the yield, and if oil is going down and the yield follows suit, that's good for bonds, right? So oil will be down today. If I go to oil, right? Oil is down 2.25. Wow, it's down. Holy moly, right? Which means what? The 10-year yield is probably getting, you know, hit here. TNX CGI. Okay, yeah, it's down at the lows. This is a big hit on the 10-year yield. Okay, so what does that mean? Oh, well, you go to bonds. Oh, you know, bonds are up. Woo! Right? That's how kind of some of the intermarket stuff plays out. Yep. Talked about TLT yesterday's video. I talk about a lot on these videos, dude. It's hard to catch everything. Because I don't take any takes. I just talk. I just talk. One take. I go through it. I build out a chart deck and I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. HIMS. So yeah, HIMS had some news. It's up, back up to year-to-date VWAP. I'm not interested in buying long here. If you caught a move, actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure HIMS was on the tight list this week. Maybe somebody can confirm that or not. But price action was getting very tight over here, and then we had some news that followed through. And you know, if you caught that, cool. I'd have to go in my tight list, but I'm almost certain HIMS was on there because there's very, very tight price action. And sometimes, right, as we stated, contraction leads to expansion. You get volume drying up, you get price action drying up. Now, I wouldn't call yourself, you know, if you were long, do not confuse, you know, do not confuse this with anything other than luck, you know, unless if you were inside trading. But it was a managed risk position, right? You could have had news that came out and expanded to the downside and got cracked, right? So if you were on the right side of it, cool, congratulations. Yeah, take some profits. You know, move up stops, manage risk, and move on. But don't expect that to happen all the time, and be prepared to cut it when you get one. Inevitably, when you get a name that goes against you, because you will, right? If you're doing this for the long run, if you're trying to do this for years and years and trade individual stocks, you're going to have times where things contract, and then all of a sudden you get news and it breaks down below you. It happens. It happened to me. The most recent one I think was NBIS, and it was. Was it NBIS? I can't remember actually which one it was. Oh, yeah. I think I played long, and then this day over here, it gapped way down. I'm pretty sure. No, I think it was bigger than that. Oh, no, it was. It was right here. It was this day. I played over here, And I remember taking some profits, and then this day it went down, yeah, like 40%. That was this year. Now, I want to remind you, I'm up 18% year to date. And I took a 40%, well, I didn't quite take a 40%, but I would say I took on a part of the position at least 20% hit. In most people's cases, a 20% hit on an individual stock, if they're over leveraged, right? If it's too big of a position, that's gonna really put them into a tailspin. But if you understand volatility adjusting, right? If it's a high beta name, you do less capital. This type of move, like you can recover from, right? You can recover from those. Let's continue on. So that was HIMS and NBIS right there. By the way, NBIS, I'm looking at this right now. And if small caps are going to start to, I don't know if this is really a small cap or, I don't know the market cap of it, but it's kind of like one of those hot AI stock. I think it was AI. I can't remember. But it is contracting right now. It is contracting. Not the greatest context, but it is contracting. ICAD, ICAD. I'm unfamiliar with this name, but, and I don't know what happened here. Maybe it's some sort of news driven, but this is doing good. Nice contraction. Some sort of news came out or something happened here. The problem here is it's a very low price stock, and I'm not much of a fan of the lower price names. Sometimes I'm kind of interested, like I'll trade them, but I don't ever get like too hopped up on them. Like look at like, I guess the volume to let me look at the volume. Yeah, the volume, like we're talking a couple 100,000 shares, but it's a $3 name, right? So this kind of stuff, like it's not really my cup of tea. Like I'm not much of this type of trader. So I think that there's other people out there in the space that might have better like ideas around like lower float, lower volume, low price names, in my personal opinion, right? I kind of try to stay in my lane, and this is a little bit outside of that. I do trade like lower price names on occasion, but I'm talking volume that's insane, right? Very liquid, well-known names. ASTS, let's go to that one. But yeah, I mean, the chart doesn't look all horrible, right? If all things aside. ASTS Space Mobile, another name that I'm not really too familiar with, so I'm gonna just try to stick to technicals here. You have the higher low, like most stocks right now. The 200 days inclining. We're flat on the year, so this is showing relative strength, and you're kind of getting paused up right here at about the 50-day and the year-to-date VWAP. So I think it has some proving to do as it stands right now, right? So if I were to go long this name in anticipation that it's going to break out, where would my stop go? It'd probably be under this low, which, by the way, if I go like this, that's about 16% loss. So you got to be very mindful of the sizing of that type of position with taking a 16% loss on something like that. Love, L-O-V-E. What is that? Lovesac. Okay. Yeah, Lovesac. I mean, okay, so I would say maybe watch to see if it can shape up here, flag out a little bit, and then maybe break this trend to come up to around 25. It's not horrible. Earnings really changed the kind of momentum here. Very strong move. Like this is could be considered a high type flag. So big reversal, and it moves 70% in a very short period of time. So once again, a very volatile name, right? 20 days sloping up, 50 days still down, 200's flat. It's pulling back to year-to-date volume weighted average price. Where would your stop go right now? I have no idea. I have no idea where you'd put a stop right here. But what I would say is if you have another platform, like, let's go into TradingView. We'll go side by side, and we'll go, oh man, what did I do? What name was that? Love, L-O-V-E. All right, so this is the 30-minute time frame, so I'm just going to focus in on the daily right now. So this is this Love? Is this the right one? Yeah, okay. So is this right? No, this is the weekly. Okay, I'm like, what the heck is going on here? It doesn't look like the same. Okay, so what I would say here, because dang, dude, where do my earnings and things go? I'm all over the place. I would put a volume weighted average price right about here. So if it pulls back, I would want it to hold this volume weighted average price over here. So if you look at the 30-minute time frame over here, it's kind of starting to cross around. If it were to do that and come in, maybe undercut it and then start to turn back around. But that would be my ideal stop, right? Or under here. But I would prefer to see it consolidate a little bit more. Okay. So there's love. Target. Yeah, Target. We will talk about Target. Yeah, Target's a pretty big retailer. I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe it ran a lot of the stuff about, around obviously poor earnings and stuff like that. It's still in a very bad trend. That's fine. I mean, if I'm going to buy the dip in some of these, like, I prefer it to be in a name that's a big brand that ain't going anywhere. Not to say that they can't ever go anywhere, because trust me, we've seen retailers come and go. But Target has this big popularity around it. It's going to be a hard one to kind of take down. Like, what would replace it? Right? I don't know. So, I mean, you tell me. I really don't. I don't know, because Target, people love shopping at Target. Has anybody been in a super Target? Like, there's something called a super Target. It's crazy. They're crazy big. They're like, I was in, where was I? KC? I think Kansas City or something like that. I can't remember exactly where it was, but I went to one and I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, Amazon maybe. Yeah, I don't know if Amazon's going to take out, if it was going to take it out. Like, I heard Jeff Bezos say that he even sees that there's a possibility of Amazon getting taken out by some competitor in the future if they don't keep innovating. Who knows? But yeah, Target is in a downtrend. Is this a name that can turn around? Yeah, obviously. Right? This thing's gotten absolutely hammered. But you're going to have to deal with it building a base out, going sideways for longer. Like, you can go sideways and down for over years. So yeah, if you determine it as more of an investment, I would say, yeah, do what you got to do. You have earnings around the corner. Maybe that shows a different sign. Maybe it's priced in. Maybe they're getting hit because of, I don't know, tariffs and all this other stuff that's been driving the market down. But yeah, that's a big retailer, big name. I said the same thing about Nike. Nike, right? Nike's actually consolidating right here pretty nicely. But this isn't a horrible trend as well. And this is a name that I'm like, I don't mind having some Nike. I did sell some of my position. I got some, I kind of scaled in, both in a longer term account and a shorter term account. And I mean, I was up, because I did buy some down the low, but no, not 12%. It was more up right around here. I don't know. I was about up 9% to 10% on the position. So I was like, I'm going to scale out of this. And now it's kind of consolidating. It's in bearish context. So another big brand that I'm like, yeah, I'll buy some shares. And yeah, like look at Ford, right? Look at like another one. I'm just thinking of these names. Ford, right? There's a fairly big, I'm not looking to buy here, but if this thing comes down again, like I'd be interested in Ford. Just big names that have been absolutely, utterly destroyed are kind of always on my radar to an extent for different type of trading, right? Not necessarily swing trading, but like buying some shares and saying, yeah, might as well just buy some of this, see what happens, right? It's not a make or break sort of thing. ASTS, we're slightly up on the year-to-date basis. 200 days still inclining, 20 days sloping around, 50-day declining. A lot of confluence here. It tells me that there's not really a big trend. You kind of have this, structure right here that, broke down and we're trying to rebuild, which looks just like what the S&P 500, trying to rebuild this stuff. So it is showing some relative strength. Did we talk about ASTS already? I think we already kind of did. So yeah, once again, I'm just not too familiar with this type of name, but we'll continue on. I think what were we on last? Love, right? That was the one that we were on. We talked about that. And then it was Groupon was next. Groupon. Earnings around the corner, so I wait for earnings. But so this is kind of interesting. Like, you see how we went to this decline phase, and this could be potentially an accumulation phase here. So you get this stage 4 decline, stage 1 accumulation. Are we moving into a stage 2 markup in Groupon? And I think that could be a real possibility given the context of what we're seeing right here. But that doesn't necessarily mean, hey, it's the best entry right now. You can see when we come up into these areas, we've actually seen some pretty sharp, supply drops. Boom, boom, boom. So I'd like to see how price kind of shapes up and tightens up, or maybe even wait through earnings. And if earnings is very bullish, boom, Maybe I'd like to see how it kind of follows through, and if we consolidate, where I can play a trade like that, right? We play some sort of a trade like that, but it'd be too much risk for me going into the earnings. But I do like how the 200-day is starting to slope up. We're above year-to-date VWAP, above a rising 50, and we're kind of just chopping around right now. Hood is another one that's been showing some decent strength. So Hood also up on the year, and I think that this name now is really kind of engraving itself into the Gen Z, right? The one below millennial, one, the younger one, Gen Z. I think it's going really kind of engraving themselves into millennials. So I don't think that I think this brand, like if you're older and you're like, I would never use Robinhood, don't put out the fact that younger kids are growing up with this. And this is what people use. So I think that this is if they can stay ahead of the game and start and continue to innovate and develop, I think that this is going to be a name that sticks around for a while. It's going to be well known, and it could very well be a very big player. And not to mention, when we're looking at this thing at like $9, one of the main developers from Thinkorswim, this platform that I'm on right now, I forget what the news was. I forget what he did at Thinkorswim, but I think he was part of the Thinkorswim team that helped develop this platform. He works at Robinhood now. This was, a year or two ago. Maybe less, I can't remember. But that's a big thing that they actually, instead of having these little, whatever type of people working, they got some serious players to work here. And that's important to know, because these platforms, right, as they develop, as they enhance, and they're designed to easily navigate and use, that's a big thing. So overall, if I'm looking at the technicals, that's more of a story side. It is holding up year to date. 50 days declining, 200 days up. We have earnings around the corner, people. So I'm not interested trading earnings. You got 170 vol. You're looking at $6.20 of expectations. That can literally bring us up from where we currently are now for one standard deviation move. Come on. What is going on here? Robinhood wouldn't do this to me. There we go. They can bring us up, on one standard deviation move around 15% plus or minus. So pretty good stuff. Dang, I wrote this one down. It was right next to Boyle when I typed it in, but it auto-corrected to LIES. I don't know what that was. My bad. Maybe if somebody remembers what they put there. It was right around when I was typing in Boyle. We'll look at Boyle. I'm not huge on nat gas type of stuff, trading it. These are like right out of the gate, right? This is also not something that I'm well versed in, but I do know that the nickname for nat gas is the Widowmaker, because it can look really good and then all of a sudden just destroy you. It's choppy. It's all over the place. It's very volatile. Not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea. Like on occasion, if things set up, maybe I'll be interested. But like, what do I do here? Like I buy it and then what, my stop is down here? Okay, maybe that's 16%, so I'd have to take a small position and maybe it goes up. I did see like, what was it, NFG, right? Was that the one? Yeah, Nat Gas. NTNL Fuel Gas Co., National Fuel. I think this might be one. So like this name, it started, like I think I talked about this one yesterday. It started, oh yeah, because it was on this list. It's down, percent today, but it's consolidating. So, if it breaks this low, then, I'm not interested, but, I don't know. That's a name. Lockheed Martin. I don't know when those are released, sis. Pfizer. I'll put Pfizer on the list. ET for a safer nat gas play. Oh, yeah, ET. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe. This one's down on the year. But kind of, has this kind of trend that's been building out. That could be one. Some might look at this, they're kind of similar to the market, kind of wedging out here. Doesn't mean that it has to break down, though. And New Holdings. Unfamiliar with this one, but yeah, you've seen a pretty strong bounce back. Like I wouldn't be chasing. I don't chase this stuff, but if it consolidates, you know, that'd be a whole other thing. Starbucks and FSLR, yeah, we'll look at those. Check out PA. I don't know what's PA or PA and BlackBerry. Yeah, you know, the same story goes with me on BlackBerry. Like I might trade it shorter term. Doesn't look the greatest right here, right? You have this big breakdown, a follow through, breakdown. But we are contracting here, so I don't know, maybe a pop higher, sure. But I wouldn't don't be shocked and see if it breaks down. I would just have your stops and manage the risk as you see fit. Over here was great because I think we were talking about it over here, how the things started curving around, and see how we had these like sharp pullbacks. Like over here made sense because you had the 50-day sloping up, the 20-day sloping up, the 200-day flattening out, and then you had these bases. And I'm like, and then you saw volume kind of show up. I'm like, okay, this kind of makes more sense. But now it's like, we're pulling back into the 200-day, but now we're well below this, so it might take some more time, right? It looked cleaner kind of through here. Yeah, I'm still pulling up IVOL. The thing with IVOL is like, if you think that the curve is going to steepen, then buy IVOL. It's more of a macro type trade, right? The 10-2, right, curve, right, has been steepening. This is a fund for that. So it's been good. Right? This is not like an end-all be-all sort of thing, but yeah, like if you look through history, it does seem like that we can see the curve steepen. You know, we'll probably have some drawdowns, drawbacks, and so forth. But using technical analysis on this, I mean, it worked to an extent, I guess, right? You can use technical analysis with whatever, but I would just be like this is more of like my macro view that I think that the curve is going to continue to steepen out by eyeball, right? That's what that is. Lockheed Martin, let me pull that up really quick. It's just building a base. Lockheed Martin building a base, get some higher lows, kind of running into supply over here. And then you have the 20-day sloping up, the 50-day now, and then the year-to-date. So if we pull up and see it show a higher low, that could easily get us right to test that 500. And Merck. A lot of chop. In Q coming down to this lower trend here, you can see that we've kind of had these, you know, choppy highs coming right back down to this lower trend that we've seen some explosive moves from. Price is kind of coming back to that market net flow right now. Still not the greatest look, no convergence. And as far as the 0-date levels, we've been getting hung up at that 5550, which is the kind of was the pin for the day. Now it kind of reached higher about 5570. Okay. Yeah, so market's kind of coming down a little bit here. Actually, that's kind of a good sign. Let me see here, because sometimes we'll get an extended reading and I want to get alerted. So this is the lowest tick reading right now of the day that we've seen. So if we can get under 1,000 here, I might take a little quick scalp, a little fade trade if we can get there. I don't know if it's going to do it. All right, press a little bit lower. Give me a second here. Sorry. I've been interested waiting to see if we can get any sort of readings that are pretty extravagant. Give me a second. Almost. Just still didn't get an alert though. Kind of in the area where we can see the bounce. If you're going long, maybe have a VWAP right there where you can potentially bounce back to. Kind of on this kind of break candle over here, but still didn't really reach my reading that I wanted to see. Give me a moment. Well, couldn't really build a position there, but all right. Moving on. I think I'm going to grab some water. So what I was looking here, people, right? I'm looking at this very short-term micro type time frame for NQ, and this was the lowest tick reading. And if you've seen, we've come down to these levels almost, and we've seen some bounces, and we saw a pretty strong move there on NQ, right? Or we might get the reading now. We might come back down to it. And then we're looking at this trend, right? This trend, we broke it on a very strong move, got an extended tick reading. So the thought there was simply playing a quick scalp for some points. And we talked about the volume, where we saw the break from at a VWAP. So if you traded that, you could play the bounce and just kind of know some levels and scalp. It's one of the many ways that I've been kind of day trading the volatility when it finally shows up. And it did, but it didn't give me quite the reading that I wanted, right? It didn't give me quite that reading. So I couldn't really build it. Like I'll throw in an MNQ, but I prefer to like kind of get it, like dig a little bit deeper than just one MNQ contract. Okay, so I'll keep my eye out. When I see the volatility, I'm interested more in like trying to actually make some current money right now. So I'm just keeping my eye on it. I'm sorry. If the opportunity opens up, I want to go for it. I have my alert set, so we'll continue on, I guess. If I hear my beep, I gotta go. Let's pull back up my list here of names. I think we landed on Merck. I'm going to go faster through these because there's so many names that everyone wants me to kind of rattle off here. Tesla Flow. Top Boy, are you by any chance in the Discord? Because if you are, you can just pull that up in the query channel whenever. Just type in NetFlow. I'll do it right now. Let me see. Query. I'll go into the query channel. I think it's just NetFlow Tesla, right? Boom, NetFlow. NetFlow Tesla. Boom. See if it does it. Yep, there you go. Let me pull this up. NetFlow Tesla. There you go. Okay, not the greatest. That's just for the day. So you can use if you're in the Discord, you can just type in the command and it'll pop up. Okay. Okay. MRK. So MRK, we're getting a bounce. Earnings came out of the way. Downtrend, right? Lower highs, lower lows. I wait for this stuff to change. I'm gonna move faster here. Okay. Man, I don't see this. I think I got spell checked on this one too. LPLA. I have no idea what that is. Maybe I didn't get spell checked on this. That actually kind of looks like a good chart, unless we're just kind of landing on this. Earnings around the corner. We do see lower highs and lower lows. Declining 50, declining 20-day, rising 200. So things are kind of converging here, and we're below year to date, but price action's coiling up right here. Okay, so I would prefer to see this to break out, but even if we break out, my main focus would be trying to get through this 340, 350 there. We already talked about IVOL, IDX. That's Indonesia ETF. Yeah, we're getting a bounce and a downtrend. Another thing, right? So bounce and a downtrend. Would I chase up here? No. Would I like to see consolidations and see how it shapes up? Yeah, I'll go from there, right? WGMI. Bitcoin miner. We did get some positive movement on crypto. So I'd be very, I would focus. Like, I don't know anything specific about this this miner. This is a miner ETF. So I don't know what's really in here. But if the Sailor to Shift tool actually gets a trigger, which I don't think it did. I think it's close to it. Perhaps that opens the door to see some movement in some of these ETFs and some of these individual names. But yeah, it's still a downtrend. Lower highs, lower lows, and now we're starting to kind of get a little bit of reprieve and relief here. Once again, another one that requires some time to work itself out, right? Gold's been the top performer, and it's kind of flagging out right now. Right, gold's been doing great. It required, so far it's been moving inverse to the dollar. Right, here's gold futures. We're kind of stalled out here, consolidating in very bullish context. So yeah, you would think that we can continue to press higher in gold, right? Going high is not necessarily a bearish case. However, just keep an eye on the dollar too, right? The dollar, right, is sold off, coming off a little bit here. That's why it's pausing. But if gold bounces, it could put more of a pause out on gold there too as well. And being such a strong move down, it could just go sideways more, potentially bounce, potentially fade right there. But we're kind of in an area where if you're buying gold up here, you could be chasing it a bit. As we've already moved significantly this last year and so this year and last year. PLTO, I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming you meant PLTR. Palantir, strong performer. We're near all-time highs. I would not chase up here. I would be looking for consolidations, flags, pullbacks, and so forth. Just like this over here. See how we flagged? We saw a strong move. We flagged right into this area of resistance. We're above all these averages. Bam, nice little move. Okay. I always look for contraction. Some of the more recent trades that we took was TEM, right? Somebody brought this up. But yeah, like what am I doing? I'm selling a little bit into it because we have earnings. Two, we came right into the year-to-date VWAP. But where was I buying? I was looking at this contraction right here. Very tight pullback in also kind of this wedge pattern. So I played it out. Volatility expanded. The same thing happened to APP. Look at app. Bam. Wedge pattern, and it got very tight here. So if I go long, my stop would be down here, and this was my risk right here, and then my reward is this, right? So I sell into it and then wait to see what happens. Then after Dollar Tree, this one has been hammered and beaten, but this one did break out of this base. Still has a 200-day declining moving average. So I'm actually waiting to see how this kind of consolidates, right? If this actually pulls back to the base and flags out, I'm actually kind of interested in potentially playing this up to 90 and trying to fill this gap up here. So, first step right here is breaking the base. I don't want it to be a false breakout, right? Because sometimes false moves can lead to fast moves. But right now, it's consolidating its recent run up. And that's a, good thing to see for right now. We did TEM. Now, Starbucks is reporting after the bell. So I'm not going to really be directionally biased here. But if I go to the trade tab, we're looking at about a $6 plus or minus $6.20 expected move. So that means we can be breaking down, right around lows on a 1 standard deviation, or we can come up, about 8% there. So that's what I'd be looking at as far as risk goes for Starbucks. Oh, dang, was NQ moving? Give me a second here. I got to go back to NQ. I didn't get an alert. Yeah, I didn't get my alert. Still no alert yet. But I could have potentially played that one. What did NQ end up doing? Yeah. So we bounced up into that VWAP, and now we got another reading there of that low reading. So like if I was paying attention, I could have maybe played another MNQ contract or something small. Still in a downtrend, but you're kind of just fading a strong move. I didn't get my main reading, but that would have done the same type of action there. So I'll keep my eye out. I'll keep my ears pinned there. NOK, that's Nokia. Somebody had mentioned Nokia. This is surprisingly holding up good. But very, very choppy and sloppy here, so I prefer the base to tighten up. Okay, OKTA. This was one that's been on the radar for a minute, but let's see what it looks like now. Yeah, it was looking good here. Very choppy and sloppy, very strong day to day. Maybe there's some news, but I want the base to firm up still, right? It's doing really good from a year-to-date perspective, relatively speaking too. Strong looking, but I want the base to firm up before feeling a little bit more confident in it. NOW is reporting earnings, or did report earnings, came out is bullish. Let me clear this drawing set. I don't know what's going on here. I would like to see how this consolidates. Now I'd be more bullish leaning on NOW, maybe to play it to 1,000, maybe higher, but I would like to see it kind of consolidate a little bit for these averages to catch up, right? And then to play a follow-through type move. So that one looks pretty good right now. It looks pretty good right now. ACHR. ACHR, we're butting our head right there into that year-to-date volume weighted average price. Also, another one that's holding up well, but I don't want to chase the move. So I want to see how it consolidates, right? The last chase landed into this. So I want to see how it consolidates and how it moves. I'm not too familiar with this specific name. CME, very strong. This would be on the radar, looking for consolidation. So that we based out here. Earnings is out of the way. We're near the high. We're probably going to break that high at some point. This was a big reversal candle. Okay, and we've already reclaimed most of it. It's holding up in good context in the terms of all this volatility in the market. This one is a strong name. Okay, so I'd look for consolidations and follow through. The thing here with trend following is strong stocks typically get stronger. Weak stocks typically get weaker. That is what it is. That's what happens, right? If you're a trend follower, that is one of the pillars or whatever. Tesla. Tesla, strong move, consolidating, looking at around this year-to-date VWAP for reclaiming it. I know that if I pull up like a MACD or an RSI, I bet this was a bullish divergence as we broke through here. I was leaning bullish Tesla, mainly because it sold off so hard. And perhaps we get news very shortly that, Elon's going to go back to it full time. So this could be one to watch. Maybe break this double bottom. I would like to see it kind of consolidate sideways and then get through this. And then maybe we get some sort of squeeze, maybe some sort of squeeze up to and around 325, 350. Sure. Right now, it's just consolidating. Plug, downtrend, lower highs, lower lows. Every once in a while, I look at names like this. Actually, I think I did it over here. I can't remember exactly where I traded Plug for a quick squeeze, but yeah, right now it's not of high interest. It's 95 cents a share. It's not like way up on the radar for me, this type of stuff. Costco, we're holding up. Costco's holding up. We saw a little bit of shaky ground over here, some volatility, so things are starting to firm up here on the right side. We have earnings not too far away. McDonald's, however, this has earnings, and this thing is getting fairly tight near highs. 200-day sloping up, 50-day sloping up, 20-day sloping up. Let me clear my drawing set here. This one looks pretty good, in my opinion. McDonald's. Right? It looks pretty good. Like I said, though, a little sloppy in and around this 320 level. You have earnings around the corner. I'm kind of leaning more bullishly that something like this, and then Costco doesn't look all too bad itself too. More kind of safety type names. We already talked about Target, EVGO, Broadcom. Lower highs, lower lows. We're coming into this area of confluence. I want to see how it shapes up, and maybe we can get through that year-to-date VWAP. TTWO. Yeah, this one's been a strong performer. This has been on the radar for a while. New highs today. Would I chase up here? No, not at all. But this was the base that I was watching. We got a little shakeout move, pull back, and then we rallied higher. So this is just stays on the radar and look for consolidations because it's doing good. Team. Big rally into a declining 50-day. I give it time. Give it time to shape up. Pepsi was one that we talked about earlier, just getting absolutely heated. Yeah, you'll probably see a bounce in the near future with something like Pepsi. Pfizer. Earnings came out today, not in a great trend. So I'd like to see just how it shapes up. But right now, it's just not a great trend to make me very confident. So if you go long Pfizer, you think the bottom's in or whatever, maybe the bottom was here, this big reversal candle, or maybe you think it's on earnings, your stop would be below that low. Or if you want to get a little bit more tactical, you can slap on an anchor volume weighted average price today's intraday move, and maybe look for pullbacks and plays for it for a more sharper type move. Subs, I don't know what that is. I think that was one of those corrects. Oh, that was Starbucks. We already talked about Starbucks and the expected move. Fassler, FSLR. Downtrend, right? Another downtrend, right? And it was a strong move, so we see how it consolidates. You want to get back above year-to-date VWAP, which is about 145 to 150. I'd like to see it pull back. This is slope up. And then, yeah, maybe it opens the door. But remember, we got earnings coming around the corner. So who knows? $12.50 of expectation. $12.50 of expectation for FSLR, First Solar. That's a big move. That's a big move. Ulta Beauty. Ulta Beauty looks pretty nice here. It's been holding up pretty well from a year-to-date perspective. Looking at the VWAP, we're back above a 200-day, back above 20, back above 50, and it's tightening up. Okay, so I like tight price action. So if this breaks out, you can have a stop under year-to-date VWAP. That would be the ideal. Or you can give it a little bit more space thinking that it's going to break higher. So this big box retailer is starting to shape up here too as well. It's overall some sideways chop, but we're starting to finally firm up, which is good, right? Strong move, consolidates. That's good. AI. Sorry, I'm still going through this list because we went through like 70 names already. AI also, once again, you know, strong moves, you wait to see how they consolidate, right? You might look at this like, hey, it could be forming an inverse head and shoulders. Cool. Maybe. And then maybe we pop up to the year-to-date VWAP / 200-day. That's always a possibility. But I look to see the consolidations, right? I want the consolidations before feeling a little bit more confident. And that's not there yet. Okay. Bros. Just lower highs keep getting rejected and pushed through. So I want to reclaim the year-to-date and the 50-day and the 20-day to hold and kind of slope around. Overall, it's not bad. It's doing good year-to-date. It's holding up. But we do have earnings here too as well. That's Dutch Brothers. So you might look at this and just say like, hey, if we can break this trend, you know, it can shoot us off. And I would say, yeah, I would be more inclined to believe that too. Maybe get through earnings and see what that looks like. But it's holding up, so yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so we went through that list. I know that some people are saying some other stuff here too. He did already announce retiring from Doge. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. But he's still there from right now, right? So maybe that's coming. DKNG. Yeah, DKNG is getting some tight price action. It actually got really tight here. We saw a little bit of a breakout. It's tightening up here again. Not the greatest context, but we do have earnings around the corner. So if we start breaking the high through here, maybe that does open for the door for a pop and you can have a stop at one of these lows. UNH. Choppy and sloppy. I'm not really interested in this. Earnings came and it got absolutely crushed. So yeah, we'll probably see a bounce. But a lot of the times, right, if you get earnings move, like this is a powerful earnings move, like they call them pegs, power earning gaps. This is a bearish earnings gap. And you typically get pullbacks. Just like on a bullish earnings gap, you get a big move, boom, and it typically pulls back as well, and you can get follow through. Just like this, you can pull back and get follow through. Lululemon was a great example of this. Everyone was like, when was it? I'd have to go back kind of far, but you know, earnings move, right? Okay, boom, we moved and we kept on going lower and now we're pulling back, right? But yeah, way back over here, right? Boom, we gap down on earnings, we pull back, and we follow through to the downside. Reddit and CRS. Reddit, you know, a lot of these names have been just making strong moves already and it gets on people's radar. Expansion is when when you get the expansionary move, this is what gets on people's radar. The moves to watch for is the contraction. Because if you break out, you can have tight risk and manage the reward to the upside. So right now, We do have an inside trading day, but I would prefer to see contractions. And then obviously I would prefer that not to go right into earnings. So yeah, I'm just not much of a chaser in these, you know, right now at least. So they can be on the radar, but that's about it. CRS, choppy, sloppy, building a base, but it's holding above some key averages. It's showing relative strength too. So a good name. It's moving sideways these last 4 days. If we can hold this rally, probably we'll try to retake these highs at some point. Carpenter Technology. Earnings is out of the way. That's good. The market liked what it saw. So now you look for consolidations. I typically like around 7 days of consolidation on earnings. I don't always get what I want. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, sometimes it doesn't come right out of the gate. But I like to see some consolidations and then look for the follow-through move, right? Earnings come, you get some sort of a pullback. I look for the follow-through. PCT, I do have a position in PCT now. I took it down here at the lower trend line. I was looking at it over here, and then I was like, I'm just not going to really do it right now. This is when Druckenmiller got in, and I was like, I'm just going to give it time. I thought about it down here, and I was like, I'm just going to give it some time. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy some. So I do have a position in PCT. It's like 1%. It ain't nothing. And we have earnings around the corner. I can hold through earnings on a 1% position. I don't care if it goes down. It doesn't matter to me. Not that small of a position for me. It wouldn't matter. And this was for a longer term hold anyway on a different account. So yeah, so I have it. Right now, yeah, it's in a down channel. So it's not looking great, but I am interested to see how this plays out and how it firms up, because it might even enter into more of a in another account to play it for more of a swing trade. But yeah, you look for consolidations, you play these, and right now it's just getting tight as we're kind of playing within this channel right here. Grab. Strong move. I look for consolidations. This low price stock, but it definitely does have some big volume around to it. So, you know, this could be one to watch too. I think this is like a Euro Pacific type name, right? If I remember correctly, kind of falls within the space of ride share and stuff like this. This was Mike. They talked about this when I went to Vegas. And he was pretty bullish on it. So we're dealing with volatility. It's holding up rather flat. Maybe wait for it to tighten up, see how price holds. And then we have earnings, today after the bell? We're looking at roughly, a 61 cent expected move. So I'm not gonna chase into earnings. I want to see what it does. Maybe if we get a big move, we go 13% higher, that'd be right up into these areas. Maybe we get a nice strong day, then I look for the consolidations, and maybe that's my entry, something like that. But if it comes down, okay, then I just give it more time and see what happens. PayPal, I was interested in PayPal. More into this range over here we're looking at as it being a potential markup phase. And then we went into the markup phase, but it pulled right back in with all this volatility. So I think it still has time to prove itself. But overall, it's been going sideways. Now we're seeing a big rally back. Earnings is out of the way. I want to see how it consolidates. I don't want to chase in these areas because it doesn't give me a good risk to reward. If you're investing in it and you're like, I just want to buy some because I think it's going higher. Yeah, I guess your stop would be down here. Okay. Synchrony Financial. Yeah, strong move, consolidating, but it's under some of these key averages and direction. So you got to be kind of aggressive. Like if you play it and it pops up higher, okay. Just manage your risk and manage your expectations of risk. Home Depot. I mean, it's tightening up here. It's getting contracted. It's contracting. So that could be one to watch. Just remember, it's the 20-day, we're right below that. You're fighting a declining 50-day here too. So on these type of setups, maybe I'd be looking at the 15-minute time frame. Hey, we break above this. Maybe that reduces a pop or creates a pop, and that kind of move my stop as time goes. But a lot of these names, they're going to take some time to heal, and I just prefer to kind of wait that out. Berkshire. How do I do that on here? Yeah, Berk B. This one's very strong. We're by the highs. Saw the volatility, and now it's tightening up. So yeah, Berkshire Looks strong. That's just as simple as put as that. Yeah, I would prefer to see some more consolidations, but you're seeing higher lows. It looks like it can probably take out this high, right? Strong stocks typically get stronger. Weak stocks, they typically get weaker until we start to see changes, higher highs, higher lows, and so forth. Or vice versa on the flip to that too. Holy moly, people. We went through a lot. Holy moly. See you later, Palm Tree. Just saw that now. I don't know if you're still here. See you later, man. Yeah, you can throw in some tickers. I've been going over a lot of tickers. MP. This looks really good. It's been chopping sideways, but it's holding up. It's actually getting very tight right here. So I would say if we break above today's high, that can produce a pop to go retest these highs, and I would have a stop down here, maybe even a little bit tighter. It will give me a really good risk to reward and potentially trend higher. So I think it has to prove itself first by maybe taking out today's high or yesterday's high. But yeah, it looks good. You had big earnings, volumes drying up, price actions consolidating here too. Pretty good looking name. Yeah. Clove. We got earnings right here around the corner. I prefer to get through that before anything. It's holding up year to date. It's right by that inclining 200-day. You get some choppy, sloppy convergence here, so we'll probably see an expansionary move. Take a guess. I don't know which way this is going to go by any means. But even if it breaks up to the upside, I would still prefer more sideways price action and then to break it higher. I'm not much of one with these lower price names, but this one at least has some supportive volume behind it. XRP, is that... I don't know how to bring that up on Thinkorswim, the crypto name, right? Crypto. I think I could do it on TradingView, but I need a quick break, man. My mouth is like, my mouth is all dry. I just went over like 100 tickers. So let me get some water. I'm going to pull up my tick chart. I want to see where NQ is. See where Gamma's at. A little dispersed now. 5,600, 5,550. 5,600 is here. 5,550 is here. Kind of slopping around. Little pop there in NQ. This 30-second candle, that's a pretty large pop. Is there some news right now? Maybe I'm going to get an overextended reading to the upside. All right, well, give me a moment here. Palantir, we did go over Uptown Dunk, and it's a very strong come out. Yeah, I did non-stop talking. Palantir has been very strong, man. I just wait for the consolidation of it. Especially during all this volatility, you get a name like that you would think would be like the bubble name. But yeah, it's been doing really well. Thanks, Joe. If you guys like what, thanks for tuning in, everyone, by the way. If you haven't done so already, it'd be appreciated if you just hit the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. Now we're getting a nice little pop here in NQ. This is only a 30-second time frame, so I'm looking at little micro structures here. Sometimes I like to fade quick moves. A couple points here, a couple points there. We're pulling back into this area. I'm not necessarily ready right now. I would prefer this thing to get like, boom, go to 1,000. Like, what's going on? Maybe even 1,200. And then I'll be like, okay, execute. Boom, 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 boom. And I'd probably fade for a few points there. Didn't quite get there, though. And you can see we've just been chopping and slopping here. All right. Choppy, sloppy. I need water. I need water so bad. Oh, all right. Oh, my back. We'll pull up SMCI here in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and... man, dude, this thing is cranking. Give me a second. I just haven't been able to throw off too many trades today, so if something opens up, I want to be ready for it. I don't really feel like fading the market, though. To the downside, at least. The red line's coming off right here quite a bit, which is definitely helping out this move. It's our highest tick reading coming after the lowest tick reading for the day. So we're getting some two-sided trade here. Just press it, dude. Just go through 1,000. Just blow through that level for me. How about that? Just blow through it. I'm not ready to fade this right yet. Higher, 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 higher. Come on, go higher. Higher, faster, stronger. That was my nickname in high school. That's funny. So these are some of the type of things that I'll fade really quickly on a quick scalp. But, you know, it didn't reach didn't quite get to where I wanted, so I didn't do it there. If I'm fading a move higher right now, I really prefer it to be very extended. From the downside, I feel comfortable kind of building in. From the short perspective, I don't feel comfortable. I just haven't. So, okay, here we go. Here we go. Come on. Let's crank this thing up through 1,000. Let's just blow people away right here. There we go. Nice little move. Still not what I want. Let's crank up to like 600. Let's go to the 600 handle on NQ. Come on. That red line is just falling off a cliff here, which is what's really propelling this move here. We got 553 on SPY up overhead, so about 25 cents higher on SPY. That could be an area too. 553. 553. Properties, 553. Here we go. It's coming into 553. Okay, we're coming into that. Come on, give me a reading above 1,000, and this will be a quick little scalp. Come on. Don't pull back right now. Little punk. I need a strong move. I don't want it to consolidate and then all of a sudden break out into that level. I want it to strong move and then be able to fade it. It's just, it ain't going to give it to me. And if it stays up here like this, then I think for sure it's probably going to break through that. So I wanted this to strong move and I wanted this to go to 553. I would have threw in a fade. And now it's price is pulling back here slightly. Ever so slightly. That's what I don't prefer. I don't prefer this to happen then to go for the level. I want a straight move and then I'll fade it. I want to fade the strength. Rubber band stretches out. I want to catch a quick move to the downside. And then I'll start to look to see, hey, this consolidation, I'll play it to the upside. Right? If I miss this move, I will fade it, but then I'll look for a pullback to potentially play long. So we're getting a pullback. I wasn't able to fade it. So now you could very well be looking for longs positions. Especially if we hold up here. If we hold up here, it's a pretty positive sign for the market. This red line still comes down. Let me see here. 553. We're still not above. We're 40 cents or 50 cents below it. Piece of garbage. There's the pullback. What a bummer, dude. What a bummer. It's been like this all day. I'm like, I think the last time I screenshotted my gains was like, I'm up like 30 bucks. That's how good of a day it's been for me. I need water. Here we go. Yeah, so this was a nice little pullback here, moving back there. I mean, very, very small pullback, but it does look like it can break higher here. We'll see. I'm not ready to take a position either direction. I'm gonna be right back. I need to get water. Be right back. Okay. Me back. Holy moly. In Discord, how do you get MarketNet Flow? What ticker do you use? So, Shama, in the query channel, you can type in /help and it'll give you all the tickers, or you look at the pin comment, or for the specifically MarketNet Flow, you would type in /netflow space market. And it'll show you this chart here. It won't show convergence. It'll show you momentum. That's kind of just how their stuff works there. 553, 551, 553. We got up to, did we get up to that while I was in the, we got there by almost 2 cents while I was getting water and went to the bathroom. Of course. So we got to get through 553 would be a lot more bullish behavior for the market. Right now, that level is kind of just in our face. Can repel price away. MarketNet Flow is bearish with bearish convergence, but the red line has been going down, which is helping this current rally that we are seeing in the market. I was looking to fade this move, but I did not get the reading that I wanted to fade. So it be what it be. Sometimes sometimes I can jump ahead of it and then try to build into it. I've done that a few times, but from the short side, I just really wish it'd just go way through that. And then I want to be much more specific on the short fade. Going long, like if the market's kind of bullish structure on like the 15-minute time frame, I'm okay with getting little head starts, but nah. Choose your battles. Water. Water. Hey, Gnarly. What would you suggest for a complete beginner to get into stocks? Complete beginner. So you don't know how to read like a chart. You don't know, like, this is where a lot of experimentation and have like a very, open mind to a lot of stuff. I would say, I mean, how do you get started with this? I think it's important to have a base understanding of how to read charts, but don't get too in detail about like everything. You don't need to memorize names as much. It's not as important as people think it is. Like, oh, this was an XYZ pattern, blah, 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 flag and a whatever. I would say a very good starting point for swing trading. I wouldn't recommend day trading as a beginner right out of the gate. I think that's a little bit too difficult, especially knowing what the loss rate is. Maybe look at like a book by like How to Make Money in Stocks by William O'Neill. And then if you want to understand like structure a little bit and like support resistance, even Brian Shannon has his good book, using technical analysis on multiple time frames. He does a very elementary style approach as far as how he takes a complex subject, but making it very easy to understand. Those would be some maybe ways to start via books. And then you have a lot of info out on the internet, like, unbelievably. But I would probably start somewhere there with a more of a proven track record, not something that's like going to throw you all over the place and teach you like there's a hidden algorithm in the markets that always does X, Y, Z. That kind of stuff. Like, no. So I'll look at a couple of those. If you're comfortable with it, I think it's set up for a short. Mara, M-A-R-A. I'm not much of a shorter, right? I'm not much of a shorter for Mara or for anything. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is. But remember, the Bitcoin, the Sailor to Shift tool actually recently flipped positive. So this consolidation may lead to potentially a pop through, especially if we get our buy signal or buy trigger on the Sailor to Shift tool. Because a lot of the times, crypto equities follow suit too. But if we don't, then yeah, this thing could break down. But it is contracting right now, and that's an important aspect. So you know when to be wrong real quick. If you're short it, if it starts breaking above this, like, you're wrong. If it starts breaking below this, like, oh, you're right, and you can have a stop. So just manage risk as you see fit. Do I have anything on the Discord or how I do these scalps? No, it's nothing specific like that. So I always tell people this, Mr. Goodwrench, that it depends on the market conditions, right? Scalping for me, I'm doing more of it because the current market conditions allow for that, right? We've been in an area where we have market conditions now for like 40 plus days. So I've been very big scalping over here, but over here, I was more swing trading. This is showing the gamma history of net gamma, whether we're above or below a flip line. So when we're below a flip line, it looks like this. And this lets me know that volatility increases, liquidity dries up, right? Selling begets selling, buying begets buying, and allows for more two-sided trade, which is better for day trading. Now look at these last few days. Now we're moving up more into gamma neutral. So what do you notice if you're trying to scalp and day trade? It's getting a little bit more difficult. It's getting a little bit more choppy, a little bit more harder to read. Market conditions are shifting. And a lot of people don't understand that. So if you don't understand that and you keep on trying, like, why isn't it working? It's a hard day, blah, blah, blah. And they start complaining. It's like, no, market conditions are changing. So this is a normal transition. It happens. A lot of first-time chatters here over at Twitch. What's up, man? What's up, Spook? Mr. Goodwrench, Pipe, and Gnarly. Hey, what's up, Giancarlo? Elliott Wave seems like something that I should spend more time learning. Maybe, yeah. If that's your style, right? I don't know anything about Elliott Wave, although I kind of like do in a way because I look at like certain like things and they're like, oh, that's a ABC structure or something like that, and I'm like, it is? Oh, okay. But it's good. Elliott wave is another way to forecast, right? Project into the future. But you still need to, like, once again, like the most important aspect of all of it is, okay, you got your forecast, you got your idea. Now, what happens if you're wrong? That's what always matters. When do you know if you're wrong? When do you know if you're right? And then how do you trade through that? 554 gap today? I mean, I would say, yeah, it's definitely possible. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I wouldn't rule that out at all. We still have a wide open daily expected move. Sure. I can't tell you if it's going to happen with certainty, obviously, you know that, but then we have 5550 is the pin, 5570 is growing in size, 5570 would bring us up higher to the year to date, and I think that's, yeah, I think it's possible for sure. Coming through that 553 right now. So if we can hold above 553, it's a positive sign. Oh, cool, Kev. I appreciate you being in. 553, ding, ding, ding. Yep, we're up at 553. Now, notice how I'm not taking a short position at 553 right now? It's because we did come to it, and we faded, and it consolidated, right? The move consolidated. Like, so it wasn't like, so once again, I'll revisit that of, you know, why am I not doing that? Is because I was looking for that 1,000-point plus tick reading, but then then the tick reading just stayed positive here and held sideways. Price action. It pulled back, but then it went sideways. It wasn't a strong shot to my levels, and that's where I don't want to fade. I don't want to like I do not want to fade a consolidation and then what, fade right here? Like maybe I'll catch it for a little bit, but no thank you. Right? No thank you. I want to give myself the best opportunity that gives me a high win rate. And this consolidation would make me think that you can go higher, which is currently taking place right now. Now, if we get over 1,000 reading up here again, maybe I'll consider it. And I'll look at here, see if anything structurally changed. If it didn't, maybe I think we come right back into 553. We're there right now, but you know, if we get a stronger move. So for me, it's I'm just on my hands right now. I didn't make anything today. Few bucks. Like, I have not done anything. Cover Boeing. No, I didn't talk about Boeing. Let me see here. Big recovery on Boeing. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like it's holding up. A lot of volatility, just a lot of moves. So I want to see this pull back. I want to see it consolidate and how it holds, and then see if it firms up to break through this into a higher level. But if I chase here, like, I don't want to hold it down to 170 or wait for a consolidate. Like, I don't want to hold through the consolidation. I'd rather just wait to see how this consolidates. Q's daily implied move right here. We haven't tagged it. And then the weekly is this one, 488.35, 456.77. Ass hands all day. It'll cut off circulation. I'll tell you what though, this does not look bearish or bullish. Yeah, bearish. Just still holding up really well. It's also nice tight price action this whole day on this 15-minute time frame. Looks pretty good. Honeywell had some great earnings. That's good. Honeywell's a big one. Yeah, big move. This would be one that I would be like waiting to see how it consolidates too. Had to deal with a lot of volatility, but yeah, shaping up. Woohoo! Woohoo! Chop! All right, we're back at that 5550 on SPX. We've been rejected a few times through that, but we keep on continuing to press higher. It ends up currently the call wall, which is the pin. And then if we get a little bit higher, maybe 5570. So now, am I ready to fade 550? No, absolutely not. But maybe perhaps if we get a big reading up to 5570, that might be an alternative for me, which would be 18 points higher. Or maybe if we, come up a little bit and get an extended reading, maybe we play back into this area. But right now, I'm just looking for consolidations, right? Because we can easily come up to this and go, boom, and fire through. Let's take a look here. And when you look at the structure too, it's pretty darn bullish. Let me go back over to NQ. And there you go. Well, NQ actually kind of fired off a little bit there. We're near highs for the trading session. Probably going to take highs for the trading session. And the tick reading is now reaching into a new high territory as the market's pressing into new highs. So see what we can get here, if anything sets up. Hopefully this makes sense as to why I wouldn't have faded over here after the consolidation. And why it would be more ideal to look for long positions through there, which I still didn't trade. I'm more just on my hands, but you can also look at like the breakouts right here. So this candle right here had some volume, right? And it's kind of held up. So sometimes if you get pullbacks into these areas, it can offer up some potential moves there too. Or you can come back to this big candle over here where it saw some decent volume. And if we go up and we pull back into these levels, maybe it offers up opportunity to play from those levels too. Top leading sectors today, if we just look at the, we got materials, financials, real estate, utilities, healthcare. Not really a risky on type day there. And then like the mega cap names are kind of flat, right? Apple's flat, 28 basis points. Microsoft, 42 basis points. Nvidia, 30 basis points. Amazon's down, but well off the lows. Google down slightly, flat. Meta flat. Tesla down a little bit. Everything's flat. It's just we came off the lows a little bit here on a lot of these names. Yeah, Colby, it's a difficult task, but you almost got to kind of fade the news. Like you can't really think too much about the policy uncertainty and the news in that type of way. Because you got to just be like, well, what is price doing currently? Right? Because things can remain illogical, and then you could be right, but it might take a while to, play out. Which sucks because you can be right, but it might take a long time, which ends up being that you can be potentially wrong, or you have to have a very small position and build into it when you start becoming right. But I mean, if you think, so the policy uncertainty is one thing, but you remember markets are discounting mechanisms, right? They try to front run this stuff. So when I look at like things like CTAs and vol control funds, there was uncertainty ahead of time. We knew that there was going to be uncertainty and the market started to price this in. So now at peak uncertainty, perhaps that's when the market starts turning back around. You know what I'm saying? Like think about it in terms of the bottom of 2022. We had peak inflation at 9%, right, of this cycle. And that was the bottom of the market. So we get this horrible inflation print, and then it turns, the market turns, and it's like, hey, that's the market saying, hey, this is the worst print, but this is the worst it's going to be. It's time to start pricing in a better story. And then it found its bottom. Bad news, but the market does good. That's good news. Right? That's a good sign. That's a good signal. Very bad news. Very good news, and the market starts turning around on it. That could be a very bad signal. Which is more narratives, but you still need price to confirm. I mean, at this point, I just look for pullbacks if I'm scalping. I'd like to fade, but I mean, what am I fading? Maybe a key gamma level here, but I just ain't getting nothing. 553, maybe that comes back into play. See price maybe pull back to 553. Maybe that would be where I'd like to see a pullback. I'm not going to fade it to that level though. %35 equity, 65% cash. I mean, that's just your style, right? Like, it's okay. Like, don't worry about catching the largest moves and the fastest moves. But if you're being careful, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But being 35% into equities and 65% cash right now in this realm of uncertainty is actually fairly normal. That's not necessarily a bad thing. And you can keep adding if it keeps on continuing to build up and get better. The problem here is typically so for me, like when I talk about that, I'm like, okay, if I'm bullish, what level do I want to be more bearish at? Or when will I say, okay, I'm wrong? This was the follow through day. And I say, I don't want the follow through day low to get taken out over into this range, right? So this little area here, I want to hold it, but I'm not really to execute new stuff here or here. I'm looking for consolidations. So I was buying, right? I was leaning more bullish throughout here, and definitely down here. And then I've been selling into this. And now I'm probably a higher cash position actually than what you are currently. And now I'm waiting, right? And I don't care if it keeps going up. It doesn't bother me. I look for individual names that are setting up and there we go. There's a move. Give me a second here. Damn, no move on tick though. Come on. No move on tick. All right, there's the all-time high VWAP being tested right now in the S&P 500. SPX, all-time high, anchored volume weighted average price. Not too far away from the gamma flip line. Hello. Damn, that reading didn't give us anything on tick. What was that? A little squeeze. Must have been something. That could have been, I wonder if that was a little CTA action right there. Some commodity trading advisors are getting their signals. Very well might be. Couple CTAs stepping into play. That was a pretty big volume move there. Actually kind of interested now. I'm just going to anchor volume average price to this. Because now, no, not that. And we're pulling up into, we're about 5 points away from that 55.70. Come on. Here we go. 55.70 is right here. That's, no, 55.50. 55.70 is right here. What a squeezy McSqueezerson. The gap, if you just tell me the level, I can pull it up. It probably is close to getting filled, if not right already. Which gap? Way up here. Yeah, it's a ways away. I don't know if that's going to happen today. Maybe. Be crazy. Yeah, this was, like I said, this hasn't been looking bullish or bearish. I'm confusing my words here. algo trading. It could be. We were kind of coming through this 55.50, 56.50, or 55.50, 56, 55.60 level. And this kind of range here was kind of where I was thinking maybe the CTAs might really start turning on their engines. And that move could be potentially what we're seeing here is that taking place. Could be. We'll know. I mean, it'll look very algorithmic, and then also we'll look at the CTA chart later when it updates. I don't think there's really any news. No, I didn't hear any news fire off. Could have been. I'm not too sure, but my thought is we're kind of approaching that level where you might see some CTAs start to fire long. So we'll see. Missing link, yeah, I do. I'm in the United States Investing Championship, so I have I trade equities to the long side, which is not part of my scalping or my day trading stuff. Right now, I'm pretty heavy cash, more than I feel comfortable with. But it's more protection mode because of where I'm at from a year-to-date perspective. Let me see if I can pull it up. Give me a second. There you go. So I'm heavy-handed cash right now, but there's a reason for that. This is my year-to-date performance right now. 19% versus what? S&P 500's of -5. Now, I've been saying that the pain trade is going to be S&P 500 going back to break even on the year because everyone's talking about, market new lows, this, that, this, and the other. So I was really beginning to think that I think a painful trade would be the market going to flat on the year. And then we'll see what happens after that. But yeah, I'm heavy-handed cash right now. I'm looking for pullbacks, looking for opportunities in individual names. We'll see what happens, right? If I'm forced to enter in, I'll be forced to enter in, but I'm going to be doing so strategically, right? That's why we went over some names yesterday, like KTOS, right? This is up 2% today. Why did I like this? Well, because it was consolidating. It was looking sideways, There we go, like something, right? PGNY. Like, I have no idea what this is, but earnings is around the corner. This was also consolidating. Now we're breaking out a little bit here. LNTH, another one, right? Sideways price action. These are the type of things that give me good risk to reward. All the names that we talked about yesterday are currently green. Not by a lot, but they're currently. That'll change. That could change. And then NFG is the one that's down, but, we're just going sideways there too. I didn't take any positions, by the way. I was just waiting this out. Still waiting things out. So yeah, I'm kind of like the other guy that mentioned. He's like, I'm always a little bit too safe. I'm like, yeah, me too. I am too. Lutnick is live. Oh, is it Lutnick? Maybe that was the move. Maybe that's what caused that pop. There we go. If somebody just mentioned Lutnick is live, I didn't see that or hear anything. Then again, is my newsfeed off? Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, my newsfeed's off. That's why I'm not hearing anything. Yeah, Lutnick praises TSMC. Says 10% tariff is virtually not going to change prices. Maybe it was him. That's probably what it was. I don't know why my feed shut off. I think I accidentally forgot to turn it back on. I wouldn't mind fading this pop, but I would also prefer reading higher to fade it to give me a better entry. When if price just holds here, on the tick chart, I'm not really looking to fade it. I'd rather look for the pullback and then play it up to the upside when things are this strong. But I'm also like, do I really feel like pushing my limits today? Like, it's been hard for me to kind of make money today. And I also don't want to like walk away completely empty-handed. Nice performance. Holy moly, that's a big month. Google expected moves. So Google will know their expected moves when we get closer to their earnings, right? That's what I'll be watching for is Google earnings, which is, where's Google? No, Google already reported earnings, right? What am I getting confused with? Yeah, Google's already out. So you're talking maybe their weekly expected moves. Maybe that's what you're talking about. The daily expected moves for my eyeball range is right here. It was down to 157-ish area right here. It bounced from that area. Now we're flat on the day. Google looks like it can get ready to rip. We want to keep moving. That's going to help markets if that's the case. The weekly expected move for Google. I'll show you.
I can tell you here from Lutnick, he does note markets are getting the tariff impact wrong.
That's the weekly expected move for Google. Google actually is just kind of pulling back. We're back above week-to-date VWAP, above a rising 5-day. 168.75 to the up, 155.17 and some change to the down. Not too snabby. Daily expected move for the S&P 500 still up here at 556.
I can tell you here from Lutnick, he does note Wall Street is wrong about Trump's tariffs because it does not see the big picture.
Fade this, you're saying? I mean, I would fade it, but I'm not going to fade yet. If I were to fade it, right now I'm just looking at consolidation. Now, if this move goes straight up, right, like this was a strong move, but tick reading is not giving me it's not saying that, hey, this is the end all be all here right now. Clean up my screen. All right. Like I would prefer this thing to just fire off. Boom. Stronger and then get a very frothy reading if I'm going to fade it. But I don't feel comfortable with ticks just maintaining right now, at least. And that's unfortunate to me because I'll miss a lot more trade opportunities that way. Right? Over here, I was looking at going long, right? But I didn't get my reading. And that was what? 948, 956. That was where? 948. Wait, 9, 10, 11, 12, 48. Yeah, right down here and then right down here. Right? Not too snabby. If you were to hold that whole move, but. Yeah, LNTH is starting to go up a little bit. TGX, come on, yeah. Oh, thanks, Goal Runner. I appreciate that. Spook, I mainly will day trade the indices. I'm like, if I'm, because right now I've been getting into the futures trading and scalping, and that's I'm pretty much just on NQ, maybe ES. Thanks, Pipe Candy. So I feel more comfortable trading those versus like how accurate is tick. Tick is data, so it's 100% accurate. It's giving you the exact reading. I don't know what you mean. The only thing that would be inaccurate is your position around that.
The purpose of trade deals is to drive
market
US exports.
It's a market internal, and it's giving you a 100% accurate reading all the time. So your strategy is what can work and what cannot work. It's not going to be 100% regardless. You're going to take losing trades. It just depends on whatever your strategy is. But the reading on tick chart is 100% accurate. Tick right now is at 21, 29, 25, right? 35. That's 100% accurate.
And Lutnick further adds, Trump is not focused on markets.
Haha, you're right. Let you know what about Eat. Yeah, actually, that one looked pretty good. I want to go check that name out. I'm not a big fan when earnings take a big hit like this, so I'm not a fan. Now I want to see it prove itself, so I'd prefer it to come back up here and consolidate. But when you get a bearish earnings gap like this, I no longer really am a big fan of it. You'll see pullbacks, but I don't want follow through. Now, if we saw a big bullish move, I'd be looking for the pullbacks like this, and then I try to play the move up higher. But on bearish earnings gaps, I want to see the market prove itself. I don't want to be like, yeah, I think I'm right, it's going higher. I want it to go higher, and then I'll be like, okay, now it makes sense for me to play it, right? We did go over Snap, but so that one's reporting earnings, right? Yeah, it's about $1.07 expected move. Pretty big. As of right now, we're coming into the upper vol range. Which came into it almost perfectly. NQ just holding up high. Can you take me higher? Did I just ruin this rally? Did I just take it out single-handedly by going into my rocket ship? Gamma flip line 55.79 right up here. It was 55.75. It's now 55. We're basically gamma neutral right now. 55.79, 55.80, whatever. Right? There's going to be other sources that say 55.50.
And just make you aware, Commerce Secretary Lutnick's interview on CNBC has now just concluded.
Uh-oh.
As always, we have put the main comments on the headline feed.
The rocket indicator. You always inverse it. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. There's no such thing. The Michael vacation indicator. I will be going on vacation in May, just so everyone knows. Top. Spook, the gamma flip line, it can act as like a potential level of support and resistance for sure, but this helps me determine market conditions and what strategy that works best in them. I talk about it. So Spook, if you're new here, I think this is on Twitch. Just so you know, I'm mainly on YouTube, so I'm streaming over here on Twitch too. But if you go to my YouTube channel, it's a lot bigger than what you currently see here on Twitch. And you can go over there and I do market briefs and I walk through market conditions. I do all of this stuff on my various market briefs. So go check that out. And yeah, there's a lot of free content there and I walk through markets of what I see. I draw out potential paths of what we may see happen in the market. And I do my best to try to navigate it. That's it. And I definitely talk about the gamma flip line. So actually, if you go to my last video on YouTube, in the market conditions section, I talk a little bit more about it. Gets me to sit in the edge of my chair. Great short, good risk reward. I would say could be a potentially good short, but the thing is, like we just broke out right now. We still have an upper daily implied move here. Market net flow is not necessarily bearish. Maybe 555 would be the level. Which actually, we're actually pulling up to 555 right now. So you actually might be right. Now, I would prefer to see a tick reading of over 1,000. And we're not getting that yet. So I don't want to, I'm not much to act right now. If I was to act, it would be just a small little tiny bit. But I would prefer to see us burst a little bit more. Just go Q and just fire off and get like that kind of like blow off type move. Then I'd be like, okay. I'll take a little short here for a scalp, not like to come down back down to here. I mean like a scalp. Like I'm in and then I'm out. Like I'm in and then I'm out. But yeah, this thing is cranking, man. Like I'm not, what are you gonna do? You look for longs on pullbacks, right? That's just is what it is. We are getting frothy. Let's look at 55.70. We're there, 55.70. We're cranking, man. This is preaching this area. Now, if we can just get one reading over here, over 1,000, I'll press the button. I'll press the button. I'll do it. And I don't care if I lose because I waited this long. I'll do it. 5,600 could be in play for all we know. Probably not even going to let me. It's, my stomach is growling. Ah! My stomach is growling like crazy. Ah, dang it. Yeah. Yar. Oh, I'm still in my rocket ship. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. All right, I'm gonna get out of my rocket ship. That was a good little move with the rocket ship. Oh, dude, my back is cracking. My body is aching. I'm dehydrated. My stomach is growling. I'm so happy to be here with everyone. Meta's blasting. The rocket ship. Sell in May and go away. I am going away in May for a little bit. Now remember, for anybody that's shorting this, if they're trading futures or whatever, just if you get into like a short, like, and it's not that big, just be very cautious of scaling into it and leveling it up, right? Like if you keep on buying, because it's going to get more aggressively, like, you know, pressure on you. That's why I'm kind of waiting for that reading that I'll probably not get.
For names such as Bunge, right? BG, and Archer Daniel Midlands, ticker ADM. According to a court document, Brazil's Mato Grosso Farmers Lobby does sue global grain traders, including ADM, Bunge, Cargill, IDC, and COFCO over soy moratorium agreements.
Your tick chart is delayed. Why? Are you using professional data by any chance? Did you put yourself as a professional trader? Because if you did, you have to pay for data for real time. But if you don't, you can get live data feed. I'll let you know when the tick reads it. Like the tick ain't there. It ain't going there yet. If anything, we're not getting extended readings on tick yet. If it does, you'll hear it beep. Actually, you'll hear my computer go beep beep. Ba beep boop. Skip it a beep. Yeah, YouTube's on a little bit of a delay. Yeah. I think, yeah. I do know about that. We are pulling back 20 handles on the NQ. Back to the year-to-date VWAP. Or sorry, the all-time high VWAP. $553. I'm still kind of interested in that 553. 556. Okay, never mind. 556. They just keep making this harder. Should do a Fortnite dance when you close the store. I'm not short right now. I'm not short. If I was short, man, what would the Fortnite dance be? What would be the emote? It wouldn't be a good one.
And just monitoring some comments here from Lisa Desjardins from PBS News. Does note US Trade Representative Greer told GOP senators that countries are coming to the table on tariff talks, but Europe is not engaging as well.
I'm flat for day trades today. I'm flat. Like I don't have a position right now. I'm not trading anything right now. I was waiting for something to happen where I can, execute my strategy. There's a couple of setups here that I thought, I can play it. Like this consolidation here. I mean, you could just scroll back to when we were talking about it right over here. But yeah, I am technically long, but
just
that's
you aware,
my
Fox
main
Business
portfolio is long.
Now just chiming in
with the cash position though. I have cash position and then I have some equities.
When he said one trade deal is done. Gazprom does post on X. Lutnick says one tariff deal made. As I said, there would be word on Wall Street is it's India or South Korea. It's just making you aware. Gasparino saying that trade deal that Latnik said is done is either India or South Korea. Obviously, can't confirm this myself. Just making you aware of Gasparino's post.
Gasparino's post. You're so tempted to short here. Ask yourself. I mean, remember, strong stocks typically get stronger. Things get stronger. Like, don't you like? It's a possibility that we take out this high. I prefer a stronger pullback, but if I'm going to short it, in fact, I mean, I may even consider a long if we start getting back down to here. Even though that it's ran up a while, you know? I need something. If I'm fading the market, I need it to be stretched. This would have been a regularly good trade right here, right? This would have been fine for taking a long position. Even over here, when it got extended on the tick reading in these two areas right here, that was fine. Like, you could take a little shot up to that VWAP that we talked about here. And then over here when I was getting my water and I missed that. But since then, we haven't had any sort of kind of frothy reading. It's just doing its thing. But if I'm fading, like, I need things to be stretched. Because I ain't trying to just scale, and then get blown out, and then all of a sudden it comes back down to break even, or I go for a losing name. And so, you know, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? What if you add Bollinger Band to the tick chart? I don't know. I never have. I've seen other traders add an RSI and like change the code like to a 5 or a 7 or something like that. Because actually, okay, so here's actually a good point. Let me show you actually that. We'll go 5. We'll go 70-30. That's fine. So RSI, right? If you're not getting extended readings on the tick, maybe you are getting extended readings on the RSI. So for example, like, okay, I don't know, here or here, like here, right? Those readings took place, but there wasn't like a frothy reading. However, when was this? 10-19. What time am I on right now? 10. I gotta adjust my time. I don't know what time the differentiator here, because we're only talking like 30 minutes. What time frame am I on? I guess if it happens again, if it happens live, I'll revisit it, but I'm not too sure what's going on here. My time is all. How do I change my time? What UTC am I on? I'm like, no, not New York. Los Angeles? Aha. Okay.
And of note for
Yeah,
Whirlpool
10-19,
ticker
okay.
WHR, shedding some pressure after they were cut to junk by Moody's. Of note for Whirlpool WHR.
So that RSI reading right here was at about 10-19, which is right here. And then you can see once we got that extended RSI reading, that actually led to a consolidation. Let's see what else. This one was 1040. Let's see what that looked like. 1040 was right here, and then it led to a little bit of consolidation. So still not the greatest fade, in my opinion. And then over here was 1059. What happened over here at 1059? That was right here. That actually led to a good bounce. So you're following the strain, so that was actually pretty nice. Right here was 1110. Right here. That's just going sideways. I don't know. So yeah, you can use other indicators on it, I guess. I prefer just the reading itself, but yeah. Shoulder, building out a shoulder for like the head and shoulders. Maybe. Once again, I'm just I just don't got a good feel for that right now. And the only way I feel like I can get a good feel here is if we actually get a reading that I would prefer to see as far as like frothy. Because right now, I mean, this is just, so far, it's just kind of pulling back and doodling around after a strong move. So I'm really not interested in shorting it unless if I get my rubber band stretches out to the point where it's about to snap. So then if I'm wrong, like I can be wrong fast. But if I'm right, I can probably take off a few points and be like, cool. Then if you go to the 15-minute time frame, a little bit of a shooting star candle here, right? But no confirmation. We're still trading within it. Well open expected move, and we recently just broke out. Market net flow, no convergence. 556 could be a level to watch. 556 is about $1 above us, so I'm going to go ahead and clone this out. I'm going to go ahead and go properties 556. Boom. That could be a level to potentially get into short. So what I would like to see if this was the case, what I'd like to see here is a strong move into 556 with a tick reading of over 1,000. Let me remove the RSI. I'm not going to use the RSI. I literally just look at the readings. If anything, I'd look at like maybe a trend of some sort, but the reason why I say 556 is because it is a 0 date level here. So we have a magnet at 555, which is where we are right now. We're 15 cents above that. But 556 has a gamma exposure level right now, kind of a wall that can repel price away from it. So for whatever reason, if we reach up to 556, that could be a level to watch. And that also would be above our gamma range today. And there's a lot of times if we break above it, it's likely to pull back in. So you put that all together and you say, hey, if I get a big tick reading, I would feel pretty confident with that, with a lot of my ideals. Like if I'm wrong, I did everything in my favor to put ideals into my favor. And if I'm wrong, okay, I'm wrong. But I waited, I was patient. If it comes, cool. That is a trade that I'd be okay with losing and a trade that I feel confident in taking. Is NVIDIA getting stretched? I don't know. No, not really. I mean, maybe very short term, but we're just seeing consolidations and breaks up higher. Right? I mean, technically we can see it at 112 and I would be like, yeah, now it's getting there frothy. Amazon's flat. Google's flat. Apple slightly up. Meta up. Meta's definitely helping this move here. Jeez, Meta, man. Why do I feel so bearish Meta? I don't know why. Something weird. Someone's screaming to me, get bearish. But I ain't gonna get bearish in Meta. I'm just gonna let it do its thing. My bearishness in Meta would just equate to not going long. Oh, you're not long? Well, you must be bearish. The wife wants her sippy cup. Yeah. It is true. This holds a lot of water, so I definitely took her cup. How do I get the tick chart? The tick chart is just an IZ tick chart. So if you're on TradingView, you can probably just type in tick. It'll probably show up. All the big index products typically have a tick chart of some sort. It's uniquely... I think it's uniquely for American index products on most of them, but yeah. Do 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 do. What's the possibility we don't touch the upper daily DM? I mean, it's definitely possible, for sure. It happens all the time. Yeah, it's definitely possible. This is just what the market expects as far as risk, right? One standard deviation is here, so it closes within there. The market would be right in anticipating that. A lot of the time, because it averages the strikes, right? You get strikes above it, you get strikes below it. So a lot of the times you pull to these expected moves. Sometimes you exceed it, sometimes you don't. But yeah, like not touching it is very likely too, because, well, I mean, look at this pin is over at 55.75. We're there. A little bit higher, actually. A double top.
Making we have some comments from Vale CEO. Does note company already reversed
It's a double
in
top.
April iron ore production drop seen in Q1 and confident it will meet full year output guidance.
Are we touching the lower expected move? No, I don't think so. I don't think we're coming down here today. No. There would have to be some sort of
Just seeing
news
some
break
comments here from
that,
President Trump, who's
that
speaking to reporters at the White House. He does say he had a
as
good
soon as,
call
as
with
soon as I say that,
Amazon's
Trump is talking.
Bezos, and Bezos is a good guy.
Bezos is a good guy. That's the news. Now, that would be a pretty big move, but it would be well within market expectations. But I think a breakdown to here would require some sort of something to happen. But it's funny, it was right when I said that, like all of a sudden Trump's talking to the press of the White House. So, so here we go. You can get something.
And further here from Trump says if automakers can't get parts, they don't want to penalise them.
I use NYSE tick chart. NYSE tickly chart.
Further here from Trump, he says he will focus on the economy in his speech in Michigan.
Excuse me. What am I getting ready for? What am I getting ready for? Is something happening?
Now seeing some comments from Pfizer. CEO noted he's seeking 2 or 3 deals in 2025 and is to spend up to $15 billion this year
Not
to
really
boost
seeing any sort of
pipeline,
volume.
and is talking often with activist Starboard.
Shada-bada-boom. All right, all-time high VWAP. Slightly below that now. The double top. Technically, this would be now considered a double top because we actually crossed down through that. So a measured move of that, you would just go like this. That would be kind of like the measured move of a double top if you're using technicals right now. I am not. Although I guess I just did by showing you that. I'm really just looking for key levels like gamma exposure levels and higher tick readings to do some sort of a fade. Like that actually could have been, because this was a pretty low reading for the day, right? We've been only there a few times and we're such in bullish context. Like you could have probably went long and just played a quick pop. Yeah, I'm on Twitch too. Bezos kissing the ring. Look at Costco. We did pull up Costco a little bit earlier, Gold Runner. I kind of like went over that in McDonald's because McDonald's I kind of liked. Mickey D's. Mickey D's. I kind of like how this is setting up. I don't like how earnings is right here, but look at these higher lows, tight price action. Costco is kind of the same thing. Costco looks pretty good. A little bit of a bigger break here, but it's kind of coming back. Not horrible, right? Yet, right? Could get ugly, but it's not that ugly. Yeah, that's for sure. It's days like this that if you're trading, sometimes you got to just walk away and be okay with smaller wins or small losses, but don't try to fight it to have a green day. It's kind of how I did it earlier this morning. I was like, like I took a couple of trades and it was like down, and then I like made the money back from a couple other trades. And I was just exhausted, you know, just because my strategy, the one that I usually use,
further here from
it just didn't give me the entry, so I
India
leaned on
coming
to a
along
different
great
strategy.
and think they have a deal on tariffs. Trump says India coming along great and think we have a deal on tariffs.
You guys are all, there's a lot of people that are saying short right here. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't feel confident shorting until, like, I get, like, there's actually the trend in tick is actually kind of going lower, higher lows, or lower highs, lower lows.
And go back to Vale.
But I would just prefer a big reading here. And then maybe like some sort of GAM exposure level, like maybe a 556. You got this big pin over here at 555. Like, I don't know. Like, you could be right, but like, is it worth it for me to do it right now for the hopes? Like, I just prefer it to be like everything in my favor, and then I'll be wrong if I'm wrong. Versus like some things are in my favor, and then I want to take the shot. Like, it's just not my style yet. So, I will say though, if you're just looking at this from a price action perspective, you get this little inverse candle here.
He does note he's not worried at all
Broke
about
down.
the auto industry,
Yeah,
and he'll
like
be
to see this
talking to
pull
the
in.
PM
Yeah, that's a
of
possibility for sure.
Australia about trade.
For sure. So you're not wrong thinking that for like a quick fade back in, right? Not at all. So just know, like, just have an idea of where you're going to be wrong. Then you have this big pin over here at 55.75, which, you know, we're slightly under. 55.75 is up here. So I don't know. And it's not like the market's selling off right yet. Oh. No gunslinging. Wait for the trade. I know, Sheldon, seriously. I feel like gunslinging. Like, I've been on the edge of my seat for a while now. I'm like, ah! That's the thing, dude. If you just stare at a screen, you're eventually going to find something you want to trade. It's just how it happens. Your mind turns on like, where is the trade? Where can I make money? I exited my short. It can drop now. Ain't that the truth? Isn't that just great when that happens? You're like, all right, it's beating me up right now. I'm getting out of this. Then all of a sudden, then the move happens, and you're like, of course. Then like, should I do it now? And you're like, no. And then it rips back in the other direction. You're like, no. Why are you doing this to me? That's why I want to wait. That's why I want to wait. Oh, boy. Triple top, baby. It's a triple top. Oh, ah. And by the way, if you don't know, I'm being sarcastic there. I'm just joking around, okay? I get it. Yeah, you came up 3 times. I get that, okay? But I'm being a jokester. A jokester. Technically, if it breaks this low now, then it would be considered a triple top. Because you want the neckline to get crossed down. Or this kind of like area here. Bing bong, boom boom. Still no extended reading. Yeah, you can do TA on any chart. I'm not doing it like that though, looking at patterns and stuff. Some patterns I'll look at, but I'm mainly looking at, then it would be larger consolidations. But mainly I'm looking at extensions and like for the ATR, the true range of the candle to get very big. Because when all of a sudden that I see that expansion happen, that gives me some insights saying, okay, yeah, now we might be getting into one of those rubber band trades. But yeah, you're going to get more false signals and stuff like that. More whip outs on smaller time frames. That's just how it is. So I'm not really, that's why I haven't been using technical analysis on this chart really. That's why I'm being a little sarcastic there. But you can go into the 15 minute and you see this breakout that took place. It broke out and it looks good. Then you see this reversal candle. Okay, it still didn't pull back. It's still strong, right? The main level right now for me is that 556 on SPY. That's right here, this big wall, boom. So if we come up there, price can repel away. And I would prefer to see it come up there with a strong rating. I'm just waiting for a setup.
And further here on
And I want my setup to work.
Violate CEO says nickel.
So I want to give all the ideals in my favor.
And long term. Question is how to remain profitable in the short term.
Or wait for a good entry long, which honestly kind of feels like anywhere here. Like if we're going to 556 right now could be a good entry. Right? I mean, as it stands right now, there's a big level over at 55.75. So technically here, I probably can catch some points to the upside. Go long. Probably play it up to the 700, maybe 720. Why wouldn't that happen? I mean, we keep going higher here. Not the greatest risk to reward at the moment, but like this, say if this was the trade, maybe these levels here, and then your risk would be down here. So you're faltering, you're giving yourself much more risk. So it'd have to be a smaller position, potential reward. Let's draw it out. Let's see. See what it looks like. Actually, I'll just draw it on the screen. Let's see. Okay. So now let's see if it breaks it. First, you want it to break above here. We'll see what happens. And no, I'm not trading this. Why not play the triple to now? I'm not playing anything right now. I'm just looking at like potential opportunities, right? So for example, if we pull back actually strong and we get a low, still not even a low tick reading here. Like it's just chop. It's just chop. But what I was looking for is if we break this, right? And the momentum's to the upside, maybe we can play it into 700 or 720, right? And then have this down here as a stop. So the risk to reward is not that great, but you'd be playing momentum or more of a pop. So we'll see if this actually holds, and then we come back up here, you know, and maybe it sets up to do something like that. I don't know. Sort of the lower high. Oh, you mean like this lower high? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just prefer right now. I prefer if I'm doing anything, I'm looking to fade an extreme move. It's just not there yet. With the stop below. Yeah, if you're measuring the triple stop. I mean, like I said, this is a 30-second time frame. You're going to get whipsawed around. Let me see here.
And just seeing the latest WTI settlement does settle 163 lower at $60.42 about. That's a WTI settlement.
I mean, look at this 15-minute chart. Like, this is another inside candle right here. Oh, this is only 30 minutes.
For Tesla TSLA, according to Business Insider, reportedly adds over 1,000 workers for semi-truck output.
What did Tesla do? Tesla's going to flat right now. Or it is flat.
And now on the geopolitical footing, US State Department says Rubio
We're getting hung up
says
too
they're
at
not
this
at a
upper
time
gamma
where a
range
concrete
here.
proposal needs to be submitted by Russia and Ukraine.
Totally stalled out actually at the upper gamma range here. That's right here. Market net flow. Yeah, that was market net flow. It's bullish. It's bullish, but keep in mind we're at the upper realms of this gamma range. So I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like there's a wonderful trade here, other than maybe if 556 comes into play. I don't feel comfortable going long. I don't feel comfortable going short. It's more stagnant right now. Yeah. 55.75. Still a little bit higher. 55.75. It's not that much higher though. Excuse me. VIX is about to
The US State Department adds, if there is no progress, US will step back as mediators in this process.
early entry. Such slow markets today. Look at this. Ain't nothing moving. Deep, dop, doop. Now let's get some action. I don't play Call of Duty. I have played Call of Duty. I think I have Call of Duty. But I suck at it. Like, badly. It's too realistic for me. Like, I don't know. I don't understand all the guns and, like, all the upgraded mods. I need something, like, cartoonish. You know what I'm saying? Like, something super simple to understand. Like Fortnite. Although Fortnite was pretty complex at the beginning, but now I'm used to it, so now I play it. But Call of Duty, I like, dude. I suck. Suck. Is the white line bullish? Which one? These white lines on my screen? These are just extended levels that I kind of keep an eye on. Those are tick charts. These white lines on my screen. I was just marking out what might look like a good, like what could be a potential play, but even here, I'm not. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I'm not confident. Okay. Yeah, nah, Fortnite's super complex. I guess it is. I guess it got a little bit easier after I played it for a while, but Call of Duty for me, I was like, Call of Duty was like super complex for me. It was like, I need cartoon pictures to make it, my mind tells me it's easy to understand. You should see the cartoons that I watched to learn technical analysis. Donald Duck was my mentor. And Chippendale. Okay. It's a quad top. It's a quadruple top, people. It's an inverse head and shoulder quadruple top. MS Flight Simulator 2024. Well, now we have an area where we can potentially break. There's been a couple of areas here. It keeps on testing this area. I don't know, man. Like, part of me, I do feel like a gunslinger right now. Like, I just want to just enter the trade and just say, I'm taking the trade. But then I know it's going to go like this. Colby, that's awesome. Does Flight Simulator have multiple player? I have no idea. Multiplayer? I have no idea. That's a good question. Probably. So you can fly together. I had access to a cartoon. You didn't see a TV till you're 25 years old? How is that even possible? Don't even see a TV? The real fun is watching charts and playing video games. Overload. It's the best. Oh my goodness. Well, this is one thing that we do know. It's not necessarily really bearish here because we're basically at highs of the trading session. On the flip side of that, many people would think, well, now's a good time to short because it's at the highs. But I want to reiterate and kind of mention that, like, okay, we're at the highs of the session here, the highs of the session here, the highs of the session here, okay? All of which would have been, you know, not great. Where did this line come from? Didn't mean to draw that. Just squeeze this thing up. Come on, get it done with. Squeeze it up. Go to 700, go to 720. Make everyone happy. Quadruple top. Make everyone happy except for people, even people that want to fade it. That would be probably pretty good. Just make it happen, Cap'n. Here we go. 55, 75. That'd be to the like gamma flip line right there. They don't want it. They don't want you to succeed. 556 is that level to watch on SPY. We're about 80 cents from that. Marking net flow, bullish convergence, bullish divergence. But we're at that gamma kind of range here. So press higher. Could be something to watch for here. But it won't come easy, I don't think. Don't think so. Really, Tube? TV didn't arrive in Bhutan till 2014. I have to look that up. That's crazy. So you're not pulling my chain. Unless you're joking with me. Get into the rocket ship. Oh, that's going to jinx it, but I'll do it. I apologize in advance. Going into a rocket ship at highs of the trading session. I've been asked. It was a request. Cruising in the rocket ship. Micah, regarding standard deviation levels, would you give preference to SPY levels over ES, Qs, and Q? The main one that I give preference to is SPX and SPY. I like looking at SPY, but mainly the big one is SPX. Is my main preference. Yeah. Yeesh. That's the big product. The big dog. The big dog. Ah! See, the rocket ship. You have failed me, rocket ship. You have failed me. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Or are you just faking me out? Are you just refueling? Are you refueling your ship, rocket ship? If you stay, you're a Hollywood actor. Oh, sheesh. Maybe I should play my AI song about going to the moon. It's getting tiring. Quintuple top. Quintuple top. Quintuple. Tuple. A lot of vol on the downside. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I don't know. All I see is consolidation right now. I haven't seen any sort of nasty break of any sort. Market net flow is not really bearish. The 15-minute chart's not necessarily bearish. All I see is sideways price action right now. In fact, I would like it if we see a big flush, because then maybe that might give me something to enter for a fade to a long side. But yeah, oh, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing. Dubs never short a dull market. Yeah, you got to be careful shorting dull markets, because they might wake up quickly. Do 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 boop bop bop a do. Very, very, very tight price action. Still technically has this little bearish candle that hasn't been negated yet. Notice how we didn't take this high out, and we took out the low, which is bearish. We haven't closed down there, but that's technically not the greatest sign from a 15-minute time frame, other than just the kind of the consolidation. Somebody stop me. Oh my gosh, are we breaking down? Is it over? Is it game over? Snooze fest. The other saying is, what doesn't want to die is a buy. Oh, I like that. I like that one too. That's a good, what doesn't want to die is a buy. I like that.
Just potential of note for ags and soft names in the US. The USDA will give up to $1.3 billion to specialty crop producers, and funding will go to fruits, vegetables, and tree nuts.
And tree nuts. They're just reporting anything now. I remember I was on my news feed and it was like, nothing of importance has been said, but Trump is awake and he is on Truth Mobile. That was probably the funniest alert I've got. He is awake and he is online. Prepare. I don't know. Some might look at this and just say it's consolidating and flagging out, right? $555, that's a little bit above us. 556, still above us. And we're just literally this gamma range, man. Look at this thing. We're just pinned. Pinned. 5570. Oh, that came down actually a little bit. 5570 is slightly above us. Was 5575. Ah, maybe we take a little bit of a breather. A little bit bigger of a breather. The audio live feed, that's a news feed from Thinkorswim. It's a news squawk service. If anything happens, they'll give us an update. I have to look up Bhutan. I don't know what that is, where that's at. I've never heard of it. At least I don't think I have. Although I am not really great with geography. Geography. Oh, I'm in my rocket ship. That's what's stalling us out. I forgot that I was in my rocket ship. You got to remind me. Sheesh. It's distribution. See a break, maybe come down here. Be nice. Quintuple top. This little price action here is actually kind of interesting. Kind of just a slow grind here. Where's my line? What just happened there? It's kind of slow grind here. What is this? What's going on here? What is this line? I don't know what that line is. Oh, it must be this thing. S&P 500 up 68 basis points, still going sideways. We're currently inside of this candle. Looking like it's going to break the low of that candle. Right here. Net flow, lost convergence. NQ still slopping around sideways. Tick chart holding below 0. Still really nothing. Nothing overly too excited here. Coming back to the year-to-date, or sorry, the all-time high VWAP. Slightly under it. Uh-oh. Are you jinxing us? Let's effing go. Here we go. Now we're getting a little bit of movement. See if we can get any kind of extended reading here. We might. Would love John Madden style market commentary. I'd have to look him up again and get like refresh my memory on John Madden. Shanks a million. That's now 2 times. That you celebrated too early. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay. That's what happens in Chop. I ain't mad at it. All right, now. Get into the submarine. I can hop into my pineapple. Oh, you draw a bunch of circles and lines and go insane. That's pretty funny. That would be funny. I gotta watch one and I'll try to do like a good mimic of that. 5, 5, 3. Cool. Yeah. Nice. Do 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 do. Looks like it's trying to let out like a little bit of its. Like the bulls are getting a little tired, so the bears step in a bit, but it's like, you know, we get bid back up. And we're like a few seconds away from being right back up here, to be quite honest. So it's just, the candles are getting a little bit wider here, so we're getting a little bit more sloppy. A range bound. Lockheed Martin. Yeah, we can look at Lockheed Martin. We looked at that a little bit earlier today. I'll pull it up. Nothing's happening here. Yeah, Lockheed Martin. I do like how it's getting back above all these averages here, and they're starting to flip up, and it's building this base out. So I want to see how this consolidates for a potential pop-up and retest that 200. And it's holding up year-to-date rather well versus the S&P 500. So it's doing good, but I would prefer to see how it consolidates this recent price action here. All right. Wolf Banter. No, we're watching these tiny candles move in an obnoxious range. Must focus in on this tiny candle. Oh, it is so bad. I am just like right on the edge of just like calling it, and I need to just get some air. Oh, okay. A little bit change here. 554. That's beneath us. So a pullback down to 554 could be a level to maybe watch if that happens. Right, well, price action kind of came up there. Kind of came through there. Yeah. This is just sideways. You did not miss anything. That's good. That's good. Get some work done, you know, get outside, do some pressure washing. Nice. Market net float, still bullish, no convergence. And then we're just kind of pinned at that gamma range. Pinned to that VWAP. The 5570 is the where we almost are, right? 5570 is right here on SPX. So I haven't really broke any of these levels that we were looking for. Although I can't even remember why I drew this out now, come to think about it. They were just on my screen now. I've already forgot. Hey. Get into the summary. Maybe need to take a break from trading. I haven't traded, so this is my break.
And seeing Brent sentiment does settle down at 161 at $64.
If I've been trading like crazy right here, then that'd be different.
That is Brent settlement.
There we go. We get a little bit of a news thing. I think that had to do with oil. EIX. What's EIX? What is the EIX? Let's take a look. Got earnings around the corner, so I'll give you the expected move. $3.82 for EIX. Don't know what all that was, but it is tightening up here, and then you have earnings. So just understand that you have the expected move of about $4 there for at least one standard deviation. Boop-bop. Redraw my line. All right, just kill this thing off and then we'll reset up. Do something. You think Meta's going to rip on earnings? Oh boy. Uh-oh. That's your signal to go short. Shoot, that's funny. Can we do this every day? Maybe one day. I still haven't been able to get a good schedule for this kind of stuff because I just don't have a good schedule. All right, we're getting a little bit more stacky up on top of us, so we're getting a little bit more heat above us, which can potentially repel price. So still 555 and 556 above us here, and we're kind of stacking. So could see a little bit of a potential flush here. Might be a time to be a little bit more cautious if we hold under these levels at least 555, 556, kind of that range there. There's kind of open the door beneath us. There's a little flush there. Little bittle flush. Little bittle flush. We did look at HIMS a little bit earlier on that news that dropped. This was the news, and now it's chopping around sideways, right? The daily time frame came right into the year-to-date VWAP. You have earnings around the corner. So yeah, see how this move consolidates. It's holding up, and it got very tight here. That was a good little entry here if you were able to play this here. I believe HIMS was on the tight list this week because of how tight price action was getting. But if you caught the move, like it's always smart to take some profits, but update your stop or whatever. If you caught up like a 30% plus move. Let's check back in here really quick. 554 started to grow again. So back to 554, you know, as we kind of said, how it opened the door. Well, 554 now opened back up. So down here would be a level to watch. 554 on SPY. So if we get continued sell side, 554. See how it changed pretty quickly here? That can repel price, okay? So that was a quick little release there of energy. Nothing big at all. And we're still kind of within this choppy range, so. Chop city, chop city. Making its move back. Chop city, chop city. $556 still overhead. Was that our little fake out flush? Can it be true? Is this a bull flag? I mean, I would say that this on the 15-minute time frame is, you know, kind of a, I would say this could be a bull flag for sure, because it's consolidating a recent breakout. I don't know about the 1 minute, but yeah, like so far, you know, it's holding up. It's not necessarily bearish right yet, you know. 554 still grew beneath us. That was good to know that. And then up, that just changed. 555 now is overhead, which is about 30 cents higher. Let's go 555. Let's just see what that looks like. Still, there's just nothing, man. Nothing opening up. I want to take a trade, but I need something to happen. We're in power hour now. Power hour. The final hour of close. Trade. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this either, but I also don't like. The thing that I'm not a fan about is not being able to get any sort of trade whatsoever. But I'm okay with waiting. I just prefer to, if I'm waiting, I like to see something happen. You know? A little bit of something. Give me something to play with here. A little something. $554 is now a magnet. So that just turned from green to red. So now look for 554 to come into play, potentially, because this can pull price. A lot of changes happening, but 555 overhead. So this repels price. This can actually act as a magnet now. Just chop, man. This is stupid. That's what she said. That's what she said. Oh. No convergence, which is you can have counter trend moves or chop. Get to the chopper. I need myself in a helicopter. I got to make a helicopter thing. See, I got a pineapple when we're at the bottom of the sea. Right now we're in kind of, we're doing fine, but this is for bottom of the sea. Now I need, for choppy days, I need to be in a helicopter. Can you please talk me into buying Nike? No. Oh, release it. We're getting lower highs. Getting hung up here at the all-time high VWAP. No convergence. 554 is pulling into play as a magnet. Turn the rocket ship sideways. Yeah. Yeah. Pineapples for when you're underwater. The bottom of the sea. It's a SpongeBob. The under the sea. Let me see here. Ain't nothing clean here. Dun, 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 dun. Gato da japa. All right, y'all. I think I'm calling it a stream. We ain't got nothing going on. It's time for me to get some air. I'm tired. I'm not going to be placing anything on today, so it is what it is. As soon as I step off, I guarantee we're going to get a move. It just happens that way. It happens that way. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. I need a break. I need a break from all of this. Boom, 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 boom. Thanks, Ronald, for being here. Now the move's going to happen. Yep. Mahalo. Barkster. Amir, see ya. Goal Runner, later. DD, see ya. Everybody out here on Twitch and YouTube. Wait, don't go. Wait, don't go, not yet. See ya, Shanks-A-Million, Dilawar, Comrade, Jay Haas, Code, Daryl, Lisa, Daniel, Ty, Colby, everybody that I'm missing, Dubs, Mario. Appreciate y'all being here. The markets rips. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? The hell just happened? As soon as I'm signing off, we get this big spike. I'm out of here. No, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Who was that? Which one of you guys did this to try to keep me in? Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Nice try though. Nice try. I know it was one of you. Who hit the button? Who did it?